Alrighty, welcome back everybody to our latest severe weather coverage. This is obviously a bit later than we usually go live for most of these events, but tonight's threat is going to be at night. We have a nocturnal threat for severe weather from Texas into Kansas and Missouri, and even up into Nebraska, where we do have a couple of severe storms actively, and we are anticipating a long night here over at least the next few hours with large hail, damaging winds, and a couple of tornadoes being possible, and this will all lead into tomorrow's severe weather outbreak that is anticipated from the Ohio Valley and the Midwest all the way back into the Deep South. So we're gonna have a lot of stuff to talk about in today's live stream. It's not just going to be the weather that's happening now, but also what's ahead tomorrow, and also what is coming up as we go into Monday and Wednesday, where we could have a major severe weather outbreak on Wednesday as well. There's going to be a lot of stuff to talk about. The next 7 to 10 days are going to be very active. Don't be surprised if you see me live upwards of 6 to 7 different times over the next 7 days. We could basically be live every single day with the magnitude of the severe weather that we're talking about here over the next week. And it all kicks off tonight with a bit more of a low-end risk for severe weather, but we still have a chance for large hail, damaging winds, and tornadoes. So let's hop right into what's happening right now, beginning with Texas. This is an area that we've been dealing with some severe weather just over the last couple of hours. We've had some big hailstorms going on just to the west of Dallas, Fort Worth. A couple of big hailstorms, one just west actually of Dallas right now, and as well as Fort Worth near Weatherford. This one has been producing upwards of golf ball sized hail over the last hour or so. Now it is non-severe for the time being, but it may intensify again as it approaches Weatherford and eventually moves towards Fort Worth. There's at least some small hail and gusty winds with this storm as it continues to track northeast. The good news about the Texas risk for today is that we are not anticipating much of any tornado risk. It's mainly because these storms are elevated. We're basically going to be talking about mostly hail and wind with anything that does end up developing here across Texas. But nonetheless, hail is definitely a big concern. It can cause a lot of damage to vehicles and even some, loose line items, including plants and even patio furniture. So definitely make sure that you're protecting that sort of stuff today. We do have a couple of severe storms just to the east of Abilene near Interstate 20 south of Eastland. These are currently actively producing half-dollar sized hail and as well as 60-mile-per-hour damaging winds, currently tracking to the east-northeast towards Stephenville. So if you're in Stephenville, be prepared for that hailstorm. Also, there is frequent lightning with both of those storms. We also have a severe thunderstorm just south of San Angelo with damaging winds and a little bit of hail, probably on the low side of things for hail right now. This is also right along a little outflow boundary, and that will be approaching Eden, Texas over the next 30 minutes. So if you're in Eden, be ready for some damaging winds and even a low-end risk for hail. Now, the main story, I think, tonight will be in Oklahoma. We do actually have a tornado watch that is in effect. This goes until 1 a.m. Central Time. We are anticipating a couple of tornadoes in addition to some damaging winds and even some very large hail. Now, currently, we have a couple of different areas of thunderstorm activity, and there's a big reason why I'm saying there's a couple, because they're very different from each other. So beginning with southern Oklahoma, this is a bit more of a concerning area of thunderstorm activity that has sparked off here just over the last 30 minutes. These are primarily hail and wind storms for right now, but in the environment that we are in, if they are able to mature and organize, there could be an eventual tornado risk with one of these cells that is moving right now towards Duncan, Comanche, and eventually towards Velma. But I do think the better chance of us seeing a more significant threat for even a tornado, which again, the tornado risk is low tonight, but there's a chance. The more significant area, I think, for a tornado risk would be back up near the Oklahoma City metro. That is going to be contingent on us seeing a surface-based supercell developing over the next couple of hours. It's going to develop probably between about now up until about 10:30 or so this evening. So we have about a 2-hour stretch until really that threat starts to go down quite a bit. But I do think that'll be the main region to watch for a more elevated risk for a tornado. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. We have another round of storms that's over in northern Oklahoma that is actually behind a cold frontal boundary. This activity is elevated. So this is not really concerning right now for a tornado risk, but it is producing some small hail and gusty winds and also a little bit of lightning as that moves towards areas like Ponca City. Also, back up in Kansas, we just did have a severe storm, but that has actually just been canceled. Severe thunderstorm warning no longer ongoing near Burlington, Kansas. And we do have a severe storm all the way back up near Nebraska City, going towards Shenandoah in southwest Iowa. And the storms that are back up in Iowa and Nebraska are mainly hail producers. There's really not much of a tornado risk with this activity. activity. We actually did have a wall cloud on one of these storms earlier, but again, nothing ended up materializing, and that environment in general just is not as favorable. We had a lot of cloud cover earlier in the day, kind of left a lot more stability in the atmosphere in those areas. So in terms of our tornado risk for tonight, in case you have not seen, the Storm Prediction Center has just issued the latest SPC outlook as of about 30 minutes ago. Our tornado risk is mainly in Oklahoma tonight, so they do have a 5% tornado risk in place for Stillwater, Oklahoma City, Tulsa, and Norman, where there is going to be a potential for a tornado or two if we end up seeing a surface-based storm or two. There is a low-end tornado risk that goes from the very far northern part of North Texas, so near the Red River Valley, all the way into central Missouri, where we could have an isolated tornado here over the next few hours. This is the general risk, so again, notice it's a pretty large area that we're talking about. It's anywhere from southern Iowa back into Missouri and also into central Texas, but again, our main corridor for action will be Oklahoma, southwest Missouri, and as well as northwest Arkansas, and also back into North Texas. So this is our main region to watch for some scattered damaging winds, large to very large hail, and again, maybe an isolated tornado or two. We do have a hatched risk for hail that is in place, one of which is over near Oklahoma City, and then another one that's back over near Dallas-Fort Worth. And the reason why this is concerning is because we could see hail as large as the size of tennis balls, which could be very destructive, especially to vehicles and again, loose line items that you might have outside. So definitely something that you want to make sure that you're prepared for if you're in either of these metroplexes. And again, hail is very damaging. We've had some very significant hail events that have happened over the years that cause a lot more damage, even in some cases, than tornadoes when it comes to the financial toll of those. So just keep that in mind, that this is definitely still a serious threat tonight, even though it's again on the low to medium side. It is definitely something that is needing to be emphasized for the risk tonight. As we go late into tonight and into the early overnight hours, there will be a more significant wind risk that'll develop back over in eastern Oklahoma, southwest Missouri, and northwest Arkansas, where damaging winds could be as high as 80 miles per hour. Now, tomorrow we're going to be talking a lot about this, I think, whenever we don't have any tornado warnings and whatnot in this live stream. And we'll be live pretty much all day tomorrow, by the way. But tomorrow's risk, it looks like we're going to be seeing a severe weather outbreak. And I did mention this on our social media platforms a little while ago, but this honestly feels reminiscent. I wouldn't say it's the exact same by any means, but it does feel similar to what we saw on May 26th of 2024. It's a similar setup. It's not the exact same by any means, and it will not be the same, but it is a similar setup where I do think our most elevated tornado risk will end up being in this region, in eastern Missouri, back into western and central Kentucky, and also in the lower Midwest, where strong and long track tornadoes will be possible tomorrow afternoon and as well as tomorrow evening. But we are expecting a widespread area of severe weather tomorrow, with scattered to numerous damaging winds, large to very large hail, and several tornadoes also being a possibility. Right now, the Storm Prediction Center has their hatched tornado risk, which means strong tornadoes possible, mainly in the lower Midwest and also into the lower Mississippi River Valley. I do think in the next outlook, this will go a little bit further up here to the north, and then I also think a 15% tornado risk may be added over here. But again, I'm not the Storm Prediction Center, so I'm just kind of taking a guess here. But I do think that is probably a more reasonable outlook for tomorrow. I do think we'll have a moderate risk of severe weather in place as long as the model trends do continue. And you might be wondering, what are those model trends? Well, let's go ahead and jump right into that. In the Ohio Valley, beginning with what is happening tomorrow around lunchtime. So we will have some storms out there around lunchtime in Illinois and Missouri, some scattered hail, wind, and also a tornado risk will be possible. But our tornado risk will start out slow, and then it will really start to ramp up as we go into the mid to late afternoon hours. Notice how we have a discrete supercell right there along the Mississippi River Valley, damaging winds moving across Indiana. By 3 to 4 o'clock, just look at this explosion of storms here from northern Arkansas back into southern Illinois, and that is where we're talking about the more significant risk for not just damaging winds and hail, but also the potential even for strong tornadoes as well with this area of activity. By 5 to 6 o'clock, these storms are moving to the east, mainly as a line of thunderstorms across the Mississippi River Valley, Indiana, and Kentucky. And then into the late evening hours, these storms continue to push east, and we'll still be dealing with a tornado risk with all of this activity. Eventually, by the overnight hours, the line will be approaching the Nashville area, southern Kentucky, and as well as Mississippi, where damaging winds will continue to be the main concern. And then by Monday morning, that risk of severe weather is moving to the East Coast, Coast, where our damaging wind risk will continue, along with the potential for a few embedded tornadoes. I do think that there's a chance that we'll have an enhanced risk of severe weather on Monday back over in Georgia, Alabama, and Florida for damaging winds. I don't think that'll end up being for tornadoes, but that is still pending, and we'll obviously know more as we get closer. But for right now, on Monday, if you're just curious, for Monday's severe weather threat, it is currently a large slight risk of severe weather. If I'm not mistaken, I think this is like the second largest slight risk of severe weather we've ever had on a day 3 outlook. So this is a very large area, once again, that we are talking about all along the East Coast, with mainly scattered damaging winds, some large hail, and then also a few tornadoes being a possibility. So once again, there's a lot of stuff upcoming. It will definitely be a very busy next several days here across the United States. And don't forget Wednesday. We're not going to talk much about Wednesday today. We'll talk more about that tomorrow and as well as Monday in our next video. But Wednesday could be a full-blown tornado outbreak across the Ohio Valley. We're going to basically repeat what's happening tomorrow, but potentially on a more significant scale on Wednesday across the Ohio Valley and the Mississippi River Valley. And I'm not saying this to scare you guys. I'm literally just telling you straight up that is what's going to be happening over the next several days. It is going to be a very active stretch of weather across the country. I mean, it's going to be, it's one of the most active severe weather stretches we've definitely had this year, but honestly, in the last 6 or 8 months, it'll be one of the longest severe weather stretches that we've had. So, but again, we're going into April. It's kind of to be expected. Also, I do want to show you the timing for tonight, because we haven't gone through that yet. So this is right around 9 to 10 o'clock. We'll have plenty of storms out there, anywhere from Kansas City back over into northern Oklahoma. Our big hailstorms and a low-end tornado risk will exist around and just south of Oklahoma City, back into North Texas. By 11 o'clock, storms are continuing to fire up and moving east across central Oklahoma. Storms will continue as well back over in North Texas. After midnight tonight, this is turning into a line of thunderstorms with scattered to numerous damaging winds, large hail, and even a tornado or two will continue to be a potential threat back over towards Joplin, Springfield, and Jefferson City. This is bowing out mainly into a wind risk as we go into the early morning hours tomorrow. Good news is if you're in St. Louis or Jefferson City, this should be mostly gusty winds. I'm not anticipating much of a tornado risk out of that. And then this is all kind of weakening out before we start to see severe weather ramp up just after lunchtime tomorrow. So, yeah, definitely gonna be busy. All right. Apparently Freddie McKinney got a flat tire, by the way. So if anybody was watching him, I just am hearing about that now, but apparently he got a flat tire back up there in Nebraska. Also, I do want to show you guys some crazy shots from earlier. This is from Falcon Storm Chasing in Blanket, Texas. This was about 40 minutes ago or so, just before we came on air. Unbelievable view of this supercell in North Texas, back over in Blanket, so just south of Abilene. Very impressive structure, and you just don't really see this very often. But I mean, this is an elevated storm. This is not really even something that's tornadic. I mean, if this was surface based, we'd almost undoubtedly have a tornado in the environment that we have today. But that's a pretty wicked shot, if I had to say. So Falcon Storm Chasing, you can check them out on Twitter as well, and they have a few other shots. Let me see what else they had. But they were on that storm near Comanche and Stephenville, for reference. Here's another incredible shot. I guess he has a bird. I think that's what his name comes from. Or was that a stuffed animal? That's another shot from a few minutes ago on that Stephenville storm in Texas. Once again, very elevated storm, which basically means that it's, thousands of feet off the ground. We can't really get tornadoes with these types of storms. It's hard to get one, at least. Despite there being pretty strong wind shear in Texas tonight, we have quite a bit of a temperature and dew point inversion in the lower part of the atmosphere. And yeah, I think that was it. There's also, this was kind of a little bit before that other shot that I showed you guys a minute ago, but this was at 7:59 p.m. And once again, elevated storm, very far off the ground here, but nice little lowering there. Little mesocyclone kind of to it, but once again, not really rotating a whole lot. Just a small mesocyclone, very minimal spin. We did just get a new severe thunderstorm warning for those in Eastland, Arath, and Palo Pinto counties in Texas. This is back over between Eastland and Millsap. That's going to be for quarter-sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour damaging winds. Moving northeast at about 40 miles per hour. Unfortunately, this area just got a hailstorm. We just had golf ball-sized hail near Gordon. And once again, we are seeing a threat for hail rolling right through these same areas over the next several minutes. So good idea to stay away from windows if you are in this warning. Also, hey, and are you watching? I don't have Storm Intermedia in this for some reason. Do I have Storm Intermedia on here? Are they 4? Yeah, I got Storm Intermedia. The Storm Intermedia currently is going south towards that southern Oklahoma storm, so we're going to put them on here. Back over in Oklahoma, we do have some storms again firing up, heading towards Duncan, Oklahoma. Not really rotating at this point. These storms probably not really surface-based right now, but this will be, again, where we're watching for a tornado risk. Also, just west of Oklahoma City, we should start to see some storm initiation over the next half hour to 45 minutes, so the tornado risk will likely start to increase here very soon. In terms of our risk for severe weather in the tornado watch, this is the latest from the Storm Prediction Center. And so again, this year tornado watch goes until 1 a.m. Central Time. They have put a moderate tag for tornadoes on here. There is even a low-end chance that we get a strong tornado if we do end up getting a surface-based supercell. Moderate threat of damaging winds and as well as large hail in this particular area. Again, the warning for tonight, a couple tornadoes are possible, scattered damaging winds, and even some isolated significant damaging winds as high as 80 miles per hour is possible. And then scattered large hail up to 2.5 inches in diameter will also be a possibility. So we are starting to see that storm initiation. We have a dry line that is back out here to the west, and that is where storms are forecasted to initiate. Right here is Storm Intermedia. They are heading south towards Lawton, and I think Corey Gherkin might be heading in that direction as well. So we'll keep a close eye on him. Let me double check, though. He is currently... Yeah, so Corey Gherkin is also heading south. So it looks like most of the storm chasers right now are just southwest of Oklahoma City, which, for those that are wondering, that's not usually a good sign if you are southwest of Oklahoma City. A lot of chasers heading down that direction. We have a very favorable environment again for tornadoes if storms stay surface-based, which is going to be a big if for tonight. It is conditional. Also, we just got a new severe thunderstorm warning. Very small county here in northwest Missouri. This is right along the Iowa, Nebraska, and Missouri border. Quarter-sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds in Atchison County in Missouri. All right, let's go back down to Texas. Let me go ahead and look at chat here as well. Hopefully everybody's doing well tonight. Again, today is really just the, I'd say, appetizer of what we're going to be seeing tomorrow in terms of severe weather. But it definitely could get interesting here in the next couple hours. The tornado threat is not high, but it is on the low to medium side, and we are going to be watching for the peak of this tornado threat to be between about 9 p.m. till about 11:30 or so. That is our peak for the tornado risk for tonight. All right, thank you to Elizabeth, Ave for becoming members. Also, thank you, Andrew, for the super chat. Becca says hi. Awesome. Can you say anything about the increasing 3 Cape and STPs in northeast Kansas? So northeast Kansas, I'm not expecting much to happen up here. Again, the storms overall, they'll develop. I think we'll have a few storms in and around Kansas City, but I don't really think we're going to see much of a tornado risk here. We had a lot of cloud cover this morning and even into the early afternoon that kind of stabilized our atmosphere. So Kansas City, hail and wind are possible. There's a very low-end tornado threat here, but I just don't think storms are really going to mature here. We did have a storm, again, this one up here just to the southeast of Lincoln, Nebraska. That one was a long-track supercell, but it really never got going. We had a wall cloud with that early on, but it's just not as favorable an environment up there. Once again, this is our tornado risk, which I honestly agree with the Storm Prediction Center. I think this is a pretty good idea of where we'll end up seeing a tornado or two tonight. I don't think north of Kansas City is going to see much. But there's always a low chance like this storm here near Ottawa might become organized and produce something, but I think it'll be mostly hail and wind. It's not really organized right now to produce a tornado. But by far, the storms that are looking a little bit more interesting are, again, back over south of Lawton, Oklahoma, that are starting to ramp up. How's Rogers, Arkansas looking for tonight? Having to get to bed early. Rogers won't see a whole lot, mainly wind, and that's going to be after midnight, so just make sure you have ways to receive alerts. Damaging winds could be up as high as 80 miles per hour, but it'll be more of a scattered risk. Thank you, Cassidy, also for the super chat. I don't expect much up there in eastern Iowa or western Illinois tonight. There could be some isolated hail or wind, but it's going to be very isolated. Also, thank you, Gregory, for the $40 super chat. Appreciate the generosity. Hope this helps with all your Culvers and caffeine needs over the next 24 hours. We have an iced coffee ready to go from Dunkin'. We have I'm drinking iced tea right now. I have to stay up late tonight because we have to make a video I'm going to make a video for early tomorrow morning, so we'll make that at like 3 a.m. and then we'll be up and going live probably in the early afternoon tomorrow. Is Venmo or super chat better? Venmo is better. Venmo is better. All right, let's see. Where is Corey at? So I'm going to put Corey bottom right. Corey's in the same area. All right, we're going to go back to... Actually, we could go to Oklahoma City. Got Riley Dibble on here as well. Riley Dibble, if you guys are curious, I'm going to just show you guys this for one brief second, but Riley Dibble is chasing today. And he is currently in the freezing rain that is happening in Wisconsin. So he is all the way back up in Wisconsin right now in the freezing rain. They are expecting as much as an inch of ice accumulation just over the next 48 hours. Over upwards, even potentially over 1 inch of ice accumulation just over the next 48 hours there in Wisconsin and even back over into northern Michigan. It's quite unbelievable how much ice could actually fall up there. Or not fall, accumulate. Freezing rain is what is falling. But for those that are thinking about winter right now, I mean, we legitimately could see upwards of an inch of ice accumulation around Wausau, Wisconsin, back into the Upper Peninsula of Michigan as well. Hey, this is just absurd. Also, a huge shout out to Austin with the very generous $100 super chat. Put some W's in the chat for Austin. Appreciate the generosity. It's going to be a long several days ahead. My family and I will be with you all of the way. I appreciate that. And thank you, Austin, the generous super chat from Searcy, Arkansas. Is St. Louis too far north of the severe weather tomorrow? Not necessarily, but the risk will be lower because we're going to have a line of storms moving through St. Louis tomorrow morning, and that will not be that significant. It'll just be gusty winds for the most part by the time it gets there. And then we could see some reinitiation in the afternoon, but it should be mainly south of you. But I still wouldn't rule out an isolated severe storm in the early afternoon if for some reason the atmosphere destabilizes quick enough. I need to get some Dunkin'. I'm not going to lie, Dunkin' coffee is very mid. I was not impressed. We have a little bit of lightning popping up in Oklahoma City right now. Bottom right of your screen on the virtual rail fan. And by the way, there's no storms right now near Oklahoma City. So the lightning that you're seeing is coming more than likely from these storms. Is that like legitimate lightning that's happening? In Oklahoma City right now. This is again the virtual rail fan. You can see the lightning out in the distance, very far away. That's going to be the storms, I think, back up near Enid, Oklahoma right now. So we got some cloud to cloud lightning. It's actually pretty frequent as well. We'll keep that bottom right. And then storm intermedia once again going further down to the south. A lot of storm chasers heading down to these southern storms that once again, if they can become organized, a tornado risk could develop out of this. But for right now, it's not looking very significant, at least for the time being. Mainly hail and wind. Checking in from the bachelor party. We've got the whole squad watching. Apparently there's a bachelor party watching the stream tonight. This is pretty interesting. This is a little gift from James Pettis. This is the hodograph in Oklahoma City over the last several hours, or over the next, this is over the last, actually 40 minutes or so. The wind shear is definitely increasing, and we are starting to see a more curved hodograph, which means that there's more spin in the atmosphere. So if there's any surface-based storms, we are going to have a much more conductive environment for tornadoes. And again, if we have one, it's going to be over the next couple of hours. So we are just kind of waiting to see if a storm can fire up just off to the west of Oklahoma City. We have a little tiny cell that is developing near Hinton. So a little bit of something there. So that'll be something to watch for. Let me put on the METAR data here. Give you an idea of where the dry line is. So again, dry line's pretty far back off to the west, but look at the dew points. They're in the low to mid 60s for the most part in central and southern Oklahoma. And just west of Oklahoma City, we still have dew points right there in the upper 50s and low 60s. So if the moisture can increase just a little bit more and the temperatures can drop a little bit more, we should have a pretty favorable environment for tornadoes. But it's going to be dependent on these being surface-based. That is going to be the contingency. Is tomorrow in Joplin going to get hit hard in the afternoon? Joplin probably will not see much. It should be mainly to your east. Joplin's threat is overnight tonight into early tomorrow morning. So we'll have a line of storms once again tomorrow morning that'll head through parts of eastern Missouri and western Illinois. And then we're going to have a bunch of storms firing off during the early to mid-afternoon hours in the lower Midwest and then the mid-Mississippi River Valley, where strong long-track tornadoes, very large hail, and damaging winds are likely in this region. And then elsewhere, we're talking still about the same sort of risk. It's just in a much larger area. But I honestly think we'll have a moderate risk of severe weather tomorrow. I would personally be surprised if we didn't. I think we'll have a moderate risk issued for at least that part of the risk back over in the lower Midwest. But then again, Wednesday, Wednesday looks so crazy. I mean, we're still a few days away from Wednesday. It's still 4 or 5 days from now. And we're mainly focusing again on what's happening over the next 48 hours. But Wednesday just looks bananas. I mean, we have an insane environment on Wednesday that could be very capable of producing strong and long track tornadoes. Again, we don't really know the specifics yet. We don't have any short-term computer models as it's still 5 days out. But the synoptic overview for Wednesday is a tornado outbreak. So, but we'll see. Things could definitely change. That is why we're still staying a little bit lenient on the wording. We're not saying a full-blown tornado outbreak or anything, but it's possible. It's just we don't know yet for sure. All right, let me turn off oh, that's what I was going to turn off. Let me turn off all the METAR data here. Got plenty of storms right now firing off just west of Dallas and Fort Worth. The storm actually just to the west of Fort Worth is again intensifying. We may get a new severe thunderstorm warning on this here shortly. Little hail moving into Weatherford right now. Probably around dime-sized hail. Could be slightly larger. Dime-sized hail, maybe quarter-sized hail moving into Weatherford, Texas. And these are pretty elevated storms, so we're not really talking about much of a tornado risk here. Mainly going to be wind, hail, and frequent lightning out of anything that develops here in Texas tonight. Got a bunch of storms firing off near Stephenville as well. And we still have our severe storm back over near San Angelo that is producing some damaging winds up to 60 miles per hour. And we also have new storm development just south of Brownwood. So we got more storms now firing up in Texas. And we actually now have a new severe thunderstorm warning in western Oklahoma. I think I missed this. This was about 8 minutes ago, but we do have a severe thunderstorm warning for those in Elk City and Sayre for 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-sized hail. And we just got another brand new one back over in Texas for Arath and Comanche counties. So that is going to be this storm going towards Stephenville. That's for quarter-sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour damaging winds. By the way, we did have a flash flood emergency not too long ago. I don't think it's no longer ongoing, but we did have a flash flood emergency in eastern Baton Rouge Parish in Louisiana. This is what it looked like. It was in the Ketty Place and Sherwood Oaks South. So just southeast there of Baton Rouge in the suburbs. We had a few flash flood emergencies yesterday as well. I think it was yesterday, or it was the day before, in far south Texas. So the flooding risk has definitely been pretty high here over the last few days. We did have a moderate risk, and I think we still do, but we have a moderate risk of excessive rainfall in place there in the deep south. Thank you, Michelle, for the very generous Venmo donation. Thank you for all your hard work. We depend on you. I appreciate that. Well, I can help. But yeah, today's stream, once again, we're going to be answering a lot of questions while we don't have any tornado warnings or anything like that. So feel free to ask questions. And again, tomorrow's the big day, and then Wednesday's probably an even bigger day. So This is going to be kind of the prelude to what's happening tomorrow. I felt like a live stream was probably a good idea tonight anyways, especially if we actually get something. But it's at least a good introduction to what's happening tomorrow for those that are not already aware of the significant risk tomorrow. I definitely recommend, if you have any friends or family in the path of the severe weather, anywhere in the Ohio Valley, the Deep South, anywhere in the risk, just make sure that they're aware of it. Feel free to share one of our videos with them, or the live stream that we're doing now, or our live stream tomorrow. Get the word out there. A lot of people still don't know that there's weather on YouTube. It's kind of one of those like small niches that is growing, pretty quickly right now. So definitely recommend you at least get the word out there about the risk that is going to exist tomorrow across the Ohio Valley and Mississippi River Valley. Okay, I gotta fix this real quick. John, do you have anything to say while I try to fix something? I don't have you on right now, but let me know in the chat. If you want to talk about any storms or anything interesting, let me know. I'll try to fix something here in a second. Shout out to Drew and Chase also for the Venmo donations. I think Jonesboro in Arkansas for tonight is not really going to see much. Tomorrow, though, we are talking about more discrete supercellular activity developing in this region, which is in like Jonesboro, for example. So very large hail and a tornado risk will definitely be in play. Sorry, I'm trying to fix something. Just got an update for Palo Pinto County. We are still looking at quarter-sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour damaging winds near I-20 near Strawn and Gordon. That's pushing east. I think we'll get a severe thunderstorm warning here shortly near Fort Worth. So if you know any friends or family in Dallas-Fort Worth, make sure they're aware of this. Got a hailstorm that's increasing in size right now. Got actually a decent hail core right over Weatherford, Texas. So I do think we're going to get a severe thunderstorm warning in a moment near Fort Worth. Storm's definitely increasing in intensity. Hey John, are you pinging me? I keep getting a notification. I don't see your message for some reason. All right, here's the latest radar scan. Could McKinney, Texas have hail today or tomorrow? McKinney does have a risk, especially tonight. There's definitely a risk. Okay, sounds good. Yeah, I'll pull that up on screen and you can talk about it. We're going to bring in John while I try to fix something. We're going to bring in John with a little update on our risk of severe weather in Texas. Go ahead, John.
All right, so if the sounding's pulled up, well, actually, first of all, good evening, everyone. Just talk about some of the environmental soundings that are going on in Texas right now, why we're not exactly expecting a lot of tornadic activity in the area. So the sounding pulled up right now, this is currently in, I believe, Fort Worth, Texas. And one thing to take note of is that you have that giant protrusion of the red line off to the right side. That is known as a temperature inversion. This is what's typically going to kill a lot of our rising moisture. So this, as long as it's able to be burned off, which as of an hour ago, this is still prevalent. This is a strong temperature inversion. So this is really going to hinder a lot of our storm activity. So we're still going to see a lot of our hail and severe thunderstorms, but when it comes to rotation, not as prevalent. And also in this area, we have a lot of southerly flow bringing a lot of that Gulf moisture northward. And this is prevalent throughout the entire southern plains, going all the way up to Oklahoma. Very strong winds coming from the south, bringing up that Gulf moisture. So there's a lot of fuel for the storms. However, when it comes to actual motion of our moisture, it's whether or not these inversions are be burned off. In Oklahoma, they're a bit weaker, but Texas, this is why we're not exactly seeing those stronger storms and potentially a higher risk of tornadic activity in that area.
Oh, I'm muted. Thank you, John, for the insightful update. I appreciate that. All right, let me, I got the whole thing fixed. So now we can go to the 3-cam view, which is what I was trying to fix. Maybe. There we go. All right. But for some reason, why is this like this? What happened? This is why we do a. Well, this is why we're doing a live stream tonight. I don't know what's going on, but we got. All right, there we go. I got it fixed now. All right, cool. All right, everything's fixed. We're good. And let me go back to here. So once again, if you are just tuning in, we got some hailstorms right now in and around the Fort Worth area, just west of Fort Worth. We do have a relatively large hailstorm that is now developing, at least around quarter-sized hail, if I had to guess, just on the north side of Weatherford. We're not really as much of a CC signature as before, so the hail might be a little bit smaller, but we might have just had a pocket of quarter-sized hail move through the north side of Weatherford. Once again, if you're in Flower Mound, Fort Worth, or Denton, stay weather aware. We do have at least a strong storm heading into this area over the next 30 minutes. And then our more severe storms are mainly back over near Stephenville and near I-20 east of Eastland, with quarter-sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds as a possibility. And again, that is currently moving to the east and east-northeast. And then the storms back over in southern Oklahoma continue to try to organize. There are a lot of storm mergers happening in this area. We've had a lot of different updrafts near Duncan and Comanche that have been going up. So generally speaking, right now, we are talking more about a threat for wind and hail. But if this is able to all organize, the tornado risk is definitely in play in this area. And then west of Oklahoma City, we have not had any cells really pop off yet, but we are still waiting for maybe a storm or two to develop just off to the west of Oklahoma City with a more elevated threat for a tornado if we are able to see a discrete cell. They have just issued a new severe thunderstorm warning for those in Duncan, Texas. So if you are in Duncan, Texas, you are now in a severe thunderstorm warning. That will be for damaging winds up to 60 miles per hour, in addition to some quarter-sized hail. So that's the latest here on this warning. And then we do have a new severe thunderstorm warning as well in northwest Missouri. That is going to be near Tarkio in Missouri. It is for 60-mile-per-hour damaging winds and quarter-sized hail. That is currently moving to the northeast. All right, we have another report from John about the flooding in Louisiana. Go ahead, John.
Alrighty, so looking away from our severe weather in Louisiana, we have reports coming from law enforcement in Arcadia County, Louisiana. Apparently because of the flash flooding, there appears to be areas that the flooding's so bad that the transformers and a lot of electricity had to be disconnected because of the risk of the ground transformers causing electrical surges to the area. So around Renee High School and Grosson Park, south of I-10, which have experienced severe flooding, these areas have lost their power. So for those people in that area, that's something to look out for, and stay off the roads in this case, because it looks like the flooding is indeed severe in those regions.
For the report, we got what's going on the bottom right of your screen? You guys see that? We got a train of tanks right now going by in Oklahoma. I'm kind of surprised that that's happening on a weather live stream. But back to John's reports. This is the area that he's talking about near Baton Rouge and St. Francisville. That's quite the interesting sight to see, I guess. In Oklahoma tonight on the virtual rail fans. Okay. Yeah, John, do you want to talk about that storm too? Just popped up. Okay, so okay. John's gonna give us an update. This storm right now near Comanche is looking interesting. Go ahead, John.
All right, so Comanche looks like that we're possibly having stronger rotation in the area. So if enough moisture and the instability is affecting the storm, we could potentially see the rotation tighten up and have a potential tornado. However, at this time,
you're good. I'll go back to you.
yeah, no, my radar.
Oh, you're good. All right, but this storm is becoming more surface-based back over in Texas, just south of Gorman and Comanche. We are seeing at least a little bit more rotation on the north side of Comanche. It's still broad, but it is something to watch for. Again, Texas is not really in a risk for tornadoes tonight. It's at least very low. But this is at least rotating a little bit, so something to watch for. I would say right now it's definitely more of a wind threat. I mean, the velocities are a little bit off the actual area that we'd be usually looking at for rotation, but there's a small mezzo there, so we are starting to see at least a little bit of rotation. If we go a little bit more aloft, actually see there's a slight bit more rotation near Highway 16. But overall broad, it's near Proctor Lake right now. It'll be moving towards Dublin and Stephenville over the next several minutes. So that's going to be something to watch for. Long term, again, would be going towards Cleburne, Glen Rose, Burleson, and eventually towards Fort Worth, which is Tarrant County. So that'll be an area to watch for. All right, back over in Oklahoma, we are still watching several different storms that are currently forming back over near Marlow and Duncan. Nothing that is tornadic at this time. A lot of hail, a lot of wind, a lot of lightning as well. I'm going to put Storm Intermediate back on the bottom right of your screen instead of the tank train that is going by. They are beginning to see lightning now. They're back over near Lindsay. And we also have a storm back over near Elk City that is producing some quarter-sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour damaging winds. We actually could get a new severe thunderstorm warning on this since the storm is actually developing more to the south now. We're starting to see some more updrafts go up just to the west of New Cordell. So new severe thunderstorm warning may be issued here soon, just west of Hobart and New Cordell. I love the train cam. Well, I mean, we could have all three cams up if you guys really want. I think the train is gone, though. I think it's out of our shot. That was quite something, I gotta say. Thank you, Janice, for the generous super chat. Don't forget to eat something in the midst of live streaming. Fun fact, our 15-hour live stream that we had on that tornado outbreak, that Saturday, that high risk that we had in the Dixie Alley a couple weeks back, I did not eat once, I'm pretty sure, that entire stream. I think I had like a couple of snacks and that was it. So that's sometimes what happens. We have a lot of talking, but the reason that there's at least some good stuff here that at least now I have somebody that I can like bounce back on if I'm trying to eat. So we are trying to basically have somebody that would be there in case I need to eat something. Make it easier. Thank you, Jay, for the super chat as well. In Fort Worth, thank you, Max, John, and Cheese Curd for all the coverage. Appreciate that. Thank you for the generosity. Will I be on tomorrow? I will be on tomorrow. We'll be on probably for 12 hours, if I had to guess. I think tomorrow is going to be a 12-hour live stream. I don't see it being much less than 12 hours if it were. It's almost undoubtedly going to be 12 hours. We do have a new storm that is now firing up near Henrietta, Texas. This is in Clay County, so a new little cell that is developing. That is blowing up quick. Look at the last few scans here. This was 9:06 p.m., 9:09, and then 9:11. That's over 5 minutes. This storm's blown up very quickly. A little bit of lightning as well with this cell as it continues to move northeast. Shout out to Gerald with the PayPal donation. I appreciate that. Thank you, Lauren, for the Venmo. Thank you, Jesse, for the super chat as well. I got my signed hat yesterday. Don't forget, by the way, guys, if you want a signed hat from me, the last chance is on Monday before it's gone forever. Our 1 million subscriber hats are still available at shopmaxvelocity.net. It is the top link in the description below, and they'll be gone forever after that. We're never doing signed hats again. Probably. I don't think I'll do another one unless it's like a really small drop because they take a long time. But we've sold over 80% of the hats, so there's only like, I think there's less than 100 left. So if you want to get one, it's top link in the description below or shopmaxvelocity.net. One of the best ways to support what we do here on this channel as well, all the chasers that we have, and now we're starting to expand our team. We're actually building a team now, which is kind of crazy to think, but we are now building an actual team to help with live streams and videos and all that. If you guys have not already noticed, we have we're adding intros to videos, which I think are honestly really good. There's been some criticism, but I feel like we've kind of filtered through a lot of that, been able to fix some of the problems with the intros to our videos. We're going to be fully editing the videos once I'm out of college, which is in about a month from now, which will make videos way better and way more, just better in general. Will be much more educational too. And live streams will also be improving a ton. So a lot of good stuff coming. It's going to take some time, but it'll definitely be a lot better by the summer for sure. I'm excited. What time will we be live by tomorrow? I'm not sure. It's going to depend on the storms, but it'll be sometime between like 12 and 4 will be like the start time probably. sometime between 12 and 4 Central. All right, we got another little cell developing near Chickasha in Oklahoma. Once again, we are watching these little cells that are developing back over here. They might not look like much now, but if they can really grow in size here and have strong updrafts, a tornado is definitely going to be a possibility. Very large hail and damaging winds. Those are the main storms that we're watching for right now. Chickasha, thank you. Chickasha, Texas. Or Chickasha, Oklahoma. We're not in Texas. Is the Oklahoma City radar back? It is back. Yeah, it came up a couple hours ago. It was down for about 3 hours, so it is back. We just got a new severe thunderstorm warning near Elk City. Mentioned this a few minutes ago. Kind of expected them to issue a new warning, and they have for Carter and Willow counties in western Oklahoma. Where 60-mile-per-hour damaging winds and also some quarter-sized hail will be possible as this storm tracks to the northeast. By the way, a good reminder as well, if you are new to the channel, or maybe not even new, you just haven't done this already, make sure to click the bell icon down below so you're notified when we go live tomorrow. Make sure you click the bell icon so you're notified when we go live tomorrow. Also, make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel as well, if you have not already. Right, we are starting to see a mesocyclone developing just south of De Leon. There's legitimate rotation right now in Texas, which is kind of surprising. Just to the southwest of Stephenville. We do have legitimate rotation on this cell. And so this is definitely going to be something to keep a very close eye on. And Texas was not really in a risk here tonight for tornadoes, but we do have at least some rotation over Proctor Lake in Texas. I really don't think we're going to see a tornado, but I'm not ruling it out entirely. Just a very low chance. Now, keep in mind that our tornado parameter values, if we go over to the STPs, is what we call them. But our tornado parameter values for this evening. Notice how our main corridor is really going to be up here near the central Oklahoma region, near Oklahoma City. But, I mean, there is enough wind shear and enough instability here in Texas. The biggest problem really is the dew points being low and the temperatures being so high. We kind of have an inversion near the surface, which is leading to more elevated storms. But this storm might be the one to try to overcome that. It's possible. You see the latest velocity scan. I mean, that's coming together. This is right near 67, moving towards Dublin. I mean, I'm not ruling out a tornado with this type of storm, but it also could be some sort of hail contamination. Let me double check. Let me look at a couple different radar sites. Might be some level of hail contamination here. Maybe a little bit. Doesn't really look like it. They have just upgraded the warning for Erath and Comanche counties in Texas, which is this one here. They have just upgraded it to golf ball sized hail and 65-mile-per-hour damaging winds. So the warning has been upgraded for Stephenville and Dublin. Yeah, this storm's been coming together over the last several minutes. Thoughts on the Central Plains for severe weather and tornadoes this threat this season? The Central Plains, I think, will be more active in like May, but honestly, like I honestly think the worst of the severe weather this year is going to be over in like the Ohio Valley. Like I think this is gonna be like the worst area will be in here. It already has been pretty bad here, but I still kind of stand by that. I think this will be really one of the hardest hit areas over the next few months. Thank you, Heather. Appreciate that. Shout out to Zach Jordan for the Venmo donations as well. It's too early to really talk about specifics for Wednesday. We'll have a video talking more about that on Monday or Tuesday. I don't know if we're gonna have a video Monday, by the way, just for those that are wondering, because we might be live on Monday too, and I'm probably gonna get like no sleep that night anyway, so just tomorrow night. Fun fact of the day: Dublin, Texas is the place that Dr. Pepper was invented, and the original soda stand is still there and open. That's interesting. Appreciate the fun fact. If you're just tuning in, we are watching several storms now that are firing off. We are starting to get a slew of different cells. Not all severe, but we do have a storm near Henrietta that is formed in Clay County, Texas. This will probably go severe here very soon. Storm right now near Duncan, Oklahoma, that is mostly wind and a lot of lightning. Storm intermediate, bottom right of your screen is on that cell. And then west of Oklahoma City, we got a few little cells that are starting to pop up near El Reno. And we also have a small little cell that is trying to form near Chickasha, Oklahoma. That's not currently turning into anything, but it'll be something to watch for. They have issued a new severe thunderstorm warning for Chickasha, just southwest of Norman, for quarter-sized hail. So they are continuing to keep a close eye on that storm. And we got a little cell right now approaching Azle and eventually going towards Denton and Flower Mound and Corinth, Texas. Small hail and gusty winds will be possible with this storm. A tornado, again, not really expected out of that activity. And we should have a new velocity scan in a moment on this storm. It's coming in right now, so we'll stay here. And we have a little bit of rotation right now near Proctor Lake, approaching Dublin and Stephenville in southwestern North Texas. Long term, this would be going towards Cleburne, Glen Rose, and Burleson, Texas. And the latest scan's not as impressive, so still a chance, but I'm still not overly impressed with this cell. I do think there's at least some level of contamination coming from the hail as well. It's something to watch for. There is plenty of wind shear down here. It's just going to depend on if this storm can become surface-based. You know, what is impressive is about 24 to 30 hours ago, we weren't really expecting anything to fire up in Texas, or at least there's a low chance. There was only a marginal risk in place here, and I mean, this is still performing as a slight risk, and that's what's issued right now for this region, but it's very interesting because we had a pretty strong cap forecasted for all of Texas, essentially, for tonight, and storms have fired off, which that's changed over the last 24 hours. The forecast confidence of storms actually forming has gone up over the last 24 hours quite a bit, which this is more on par for what we were expecting, but think about it, about 30 hours ago, we really were not expecting anything, so... They have just issued a new severe thunderstorm warning for Parker, Tarrant, Wise, and Denton counties. So a much more populated area in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, now included in a new severe thunderstorm warning. It's going to be the storm here near Azle that is heading right towards Denton, Texas. So if you are in this warning, seek shelter, get away from windows. Don't be outdoors while this storm comes into your area. And damaging winds up to 60 miles per hour and quarter-sized hail are going to be possible. Also, we do have a camera in Lantana, Texas, which I'm going to try to see if I can get that up. But there is a camera actually out in front of this. I don't think it's on the program, though. Stream. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm going to add... We got a camera in Lantana that's coming up in this warning. Just don't have it on here. All right. Back to the 3-cam view. Lantana, Texas is bottom middle. And we'll put Oklahoma City back on the bottom right. Back over in Flower Mound, also stay weather aware. We got a little hailstorm. Should stay just here north, but I wouldn't rule out some more convection developing south of this. This is not tornadic, for those that are wondering. It is mainly wind and hail. Not expecting much of a tornado risk here, but there's a lot of people in this warning. We got 359,000 people in this severe thunderstorm warning for hail and wind. Shout out to DK for the super chat. What's the outlook for New Orleans tomorrow? In terms of severe weather, I think it's going to be low down there. Just some isolated damaging winds and hail. Don't expect much else down over in the New Orleans area. My best friend lives near Shawnee, Oklahoma. Is there anything we can expect there or anytime soon? For anywhere in the Oklahoma City, we're just kind of waiting right now. We got these storms that are down to your south. These will spread across much of central Oklahoma over the next few hours. And this storm moving to the north, splitting left, is going to limit the tornado risk for any storms that try to develop right here. So in the short term, lower chance of something developing there. But we're really watching this corridor for a supercell to attempt to develop over the next hour. Again, so it's a chance. It's not guaranteed, but it is a possibility. And if we have one develop there, a potential for even a strong tornado would be in play. But for right now, more of a hail and wind risk across Oklahoma for the time being. That could definitely change at moment's notice. But over in Shawnee, I mean, we still got probably about 2, maybe 3 hours until something's really knocking on your doorstep. Let me check back in on this cell near Dublin. I mean, we got a big hail core right now near Dublin, Texas. This warning could get upgraded to like 2-inch sized hail, maybe even larger for Stephenville. A big hailstorm in the Stephenville area. I don't think we have any official reports on this yet, but there's definitely some big hail, frequent lightning as well. It's gonna be moving in here over the next few minutes. Also, a little update, the storm east of San Angelo is no longer severe. We got severe weather back over near Elk City, Oklahoma, and also south of Oklahoma City. We got plenty of strong storms in northern Oklahoma. These should be mainly hail risks as they are elevated. They are a little north there of the cold frontal boundary, so this is not really expected to be anything more than just a little bit of hail and wind. Dew points are relatively low there. We do have some storms now firing off near near Kansas City, excuse me. Little cluster of storms now firing off, approaching Kansas City, Missouri, and near the Overland Park area, excuse me, and then back over near Leavenworth and Smithville. So some strong storms forming here. Would anticipate these to upscale over the next 30 to 45 minutes. Some scattered damaging winds will likely become a concern there. We do have one severe storm that is tracking up into Iowa right now, with mainly some quarter-sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds near Red Oak, Clarinda, and west of Bedford. Long term, that'll be going towards Creston and Greenfield, and then eventually Des Moines. So quarter-sized hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds, the main concern out of that storm activity. Let's go back to Oklahoma area. Stay here for a second. If I can get Corey on here. Right. Thank you, Cassidy, for the super chat. Also, thank you, DK, again. And also, shout out to Kenzie for becoming a member. Des Moines here. Yeah, if you're in Des Moines, it's mainly going to be hail and wind. Mainly hail and wind. And we just got a new severe thunderstorm warning for Custer and Dewey counties. That's for quarter-sized hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds in Oklahoma. So severe weather starting to increase a little bit now in Oklahoma. That's going to be back up near Clinton. This is another cell that is going to be more, I believe, elevated. Let's see what the dew point is in this area. Yeah, these are more elevated storms as well. Dew points in the low to mid-50s. Mainly a hail and wind risk back out here to the west. Jay, if you're on our Discord server, there are instructions on how to upgrade your membership. But if not, you can just cancel and go back in and do it. It won't change anything about your status if you do that. But there are instructions on there. Also, a huge shout out to Todd, Kathleen, and a bunch of others for picking up ShopMaxVelocity.net merch. Once again, if you want to get any 1 million subscriber merch, the next 48 hours is your last opportunity. It's the top link in the description below. We do have our signed hats available. That will be our last time we're selling signed hats. It's one of the best ways to support what we do here on this channel, so you can check it out. Top link in the description below. All right, let's go over to Corey Gherkin, who is currently back over in southwest Oklahoma. Corey Gherkin is approaching the severe storm near Duncan, which is producing frequent lightning right now. We're losing him just a little bit. Let's try. Oh, that was a bright flash. Alright, we're going back. This is live right now near Rush Springs and Duncan. There's a chance that if the storm's able to organize that we could get a tornado risk on it, but generally speaking, right now it's hail and wind for the next 20 to 30 minutes. Thank you, Bird. Appreciate that. Appreciate the generosity. Any updates on the ice storm in Wisconsin? Honestly, the ice storm in Wisconsin is only going to get worse tomorrow. It's mainly going to be tomorrow for the ice storm. But the freezing rain's already picking up. I have insider information from somebody that was driving out there that there's already iced over roads, and it's only going to get worse. I mean, we're talking about upwards of an inch of ice accumulation here, Wausau, Wisconsin. We're going to keep Corey bottom right of your screen. I have somebody asking a good question, which is for the Texas storms. This isn't really a great example, but it's at least decent. So, somebody was asking, how do you know the storms are elevated in North Texas, which currently, at least this cell right now, northwest of Fort Worth, is definitely elevated. One of the best ways to look is where the lifting condensation level is, and also if we have any sort of inversion near the surface with the dew point. And our lifting condensation level observed a few hours ago was a little over 1 kilometer off the ground. It's not far from being more surface-based, but it's a little bit more elevated. And again, this is a few hours ago, so this is not exactly right now. This was back at like 6 or 7. John, do you have a newer sounding by chance? If you have a newer sounding, send it to me. Yeah, nothing. Okay. We had a sounding. Oh, that was the sounding. All right, never mind. But essentially, the storms are forming a little bit more off the ground. They're forming like multiple thousands of feet off the ground instead of being, you know, near the surface. Like, we're talking surface-based storms are usually around like 2,000 to 4,000 feet or so, maybe a little bit higher than that. But generally speaking, our elevated storms are going to be much higher off the ground. And those are usually just hail and wind, because a tornado, it's going to take a lot more for that to get near the ground. Tornado sirens in Denton, and why? That is because Denton County, I used to live in Denton County. Denton County actually has tornado sirens go off for normal severe storms. There are many places in the Great Plains that have sirens go off even for normal severe weather. So, but Denton County in particular does do that. Why? I honestly don't know, but they do. My goodness, look at this storm right now near Dublin and Stephenville. Absolutely chonker of a hailstorm right now. Going towards Stephenville. We're looking at reflectivity right now. All that white and pink and black, that is all significant hail. The DBZ values are upwards of 70 right now, so this is at least very intense rainfall, if not even some big hail. The warning right now is for golf ball sized hail. All right, we have an update from John on the first hail report of the night in Duncan. Let's go to John with the latest update. We just got an upgrade to the warning here near Dublin, Stephenville. So this has now been upgraded. We are now on a tornado possible label on this storm in Arath and Comanche County, so near Dublin and Stephenville. And it's also up to baseball-sized hail. So we now have baseball-sized hail that is approaching Stephenville, Texas. This is a significant risk. This is destructive hail for reference. We are talking about a destructive storm producing baseball-sized hail approaching Stephenville. And they have issued a tornado possible label on this, as we do have some rotation near Dublin. So seek shelter, get away from windows, get on the lowest floor possible, get into an interior room of your home or building if you are in this warning. This is a significant storm right now heading towards Stephenville, Texas. Long term, this will be going towards Glen Rose. And then eventually Cleburne, Granbury, Burleson, and it could even track in the direction of the south side of Tarrant County, so just to the south of Fort Worth in Texas. But this storm is definitely trending in the wrong direction. Baseball-sized hail, again, very destructive. Cars will definitely be damaged from this. See if there's any other updates. All right, let's go to John. He has an update on the hail in Duncan, the first hail report in Oklahoma. Go ahead.
All right. So a little bit earlier, when the storm currently over Duncan was over Walters, Oklahoma, looks to be that we have quarter-size hail being reported by the public. I don't know. I'm not sure when we're going to get new reports on the current state of the hail. It looks like it has weakened. So that storm was producing quarter-size hail, at least 1 point so far tonight.
Alrighty, thank you, John, for the report. Hey, Justin, for the donation on PayPal. By the way, is the sound good, by the way, for John? I just want to make sure it's good. I haven't seen anybody complaining, so I'm guessing it's good. But I'm just making sure it's balanced. Might have echoed because I didn't mute my mic. But again, if you're just tuning in, we got a big hailstorm right now near Dublin and Stephenville, Texas. Huge hail core right over Dublin. We actually have a scatter spike popping up on radar, and that is also an indicator of huge hail that is falling near Dublin. So very significant storm moving to the northeast. And I know that, yeah, Falcon chasing was kind of in this area, so we're going to keep a close eye on this. By the way, for those that are wondering, this is technically a severe thunderstorm warning that is a life-threatening situation. So this is a life-threatening situation right now near Stephenville and Dublin, with the hailstone sizes being literally massive. I mean, we're talking about, again, baseball-sized hail moving towards Stephenville. We still have a severe thunderstorm warning near Flower Mound and Denton. Don't be too caught off guard right now by the shape of the storm. It's not rotating right now in the low levels. It's not concerning. If you look at the velocities, it's all red. That's just some gusty winds at worst case scenario. Obviously, it looks concerning, but it's really just some hail. So apparently there is a solar eclipse. Wasn't that like the other day? Got a little cell that has popped up over the last half hour near Henrietta, Texas. It's going to be moving towards Ardmore, Oklahoma. That might get warned here soon for hail and wind. The severe thunderstorm warnings near Duncan and Chickasha are now downgraded. No longer a wind risk, really, with these, other than some gusty winds. Instead, they are warned for quarter-sized hail. How's Tulsa, Oklahoma looking? Tulsa, Oklahoma will be more of a risk after about 11 to 12 o'clock tonight. We'll have a line of storms essentially form over the next few hours. It'll be a bit broken up, and it'll eventually move towards Tulsa. Also, just a little update. Corey Gherkin, bottom left of your screen, he is near these storms in southwest Oklahoma. Bottom middle, that is in Lantana, Texas. If you're not familiar, that is back over near Denton, Texas. So it's in this general area. And then Oklahoma City's bottom right of your screen. Am I going live tomorrow? I will be live tomorrow. Yes, I will be live. It's a very, very low chance that I don't go live for some reason, but like it's gonna happen. Probably gonna be live for like 12 hours tomorrow. A little interesting on the velocity scan. Again, you can kind of see a little tightening near Dublin, but I'm still thinking that that's hail contamination here. We got a huge scatter spike that's pretty if you're on radar near the Dublin storm. So in my opinion right now, I don't really think this is too tornadic at the top, at least for right now. That could definitely change. But we are definitely talking about a major hailstorm right now approaching Stephenville, Texas. See if we can get the velocities a little bit more off the ground here. It's gonna be kind of messy. Scatter spike, that's a new term for me. Yeah, scatter spikes, we don't usually have them unless we have a big hailstorm, and we have one right now. Just for those that are wondering, like, what is even a scatter spike? Essentially, it's basically the hail that's just scattering a bunch of pixels out from the center of this storm. And you can see how the hail core is blown up over the last several minutes near Dublin, right? We got all that white and kind of black that's popping up there. But notice right here, this is the area. We don't really have much as of 10 minutes ago, but over the last 5 minutes, it has really become more defined. That right there is a scatter spike, which is coming from this huge hail core in Dublin. I am very curious to see what the reports end up being in Dublin for hailstone sizes, but I would almost guarantee you we are talking about massive hail in this storm. But no hail reports that have yet been verified or have come in yet, so we'll have to wait and see about those. We did just get a new severe thunderstorm warning for those in Duncan, south of Lindsay, west of Wynwood. That is for quarter-sized hail. And currently not really any tornado risk on that cell. Thank you, Blay, for the super chat, and he says, I live around Dublin and there's baseball-sized hail. So, assuming that is correct, definitely be ready for baseball-sized hail. If you are in Stephenville, if you're just north of Hyco, it's eventually going to track to Glen Rose. So if you're in Glen Rose, Cleburne, or Granbury, even though the storm might not be producing that large of hail by the time it gets to you, I would definitely make sure if you're in these areas that you are at least bringing your vehicle into a garage if you have one, protecting anything that can break in the outdoors. If you have plants or something like that, bring those in. If you have any patio furniture that can be shattered from big hail, definitely would bring that in. An interesting little mesoscale discussion that has just come in here from the Storm Prediction Center. The risk of large hail and severe wind gusts might actually be increasing just south there of Fort Worth. So they actually think the risk right now is increasing rather than kind of stalling out right now. So let's go over to Corey Gherkin. He actually has a crazy view right now by the looks of it. Corey Gherkin's on that storm near Duncan in Oklahoma. We met. Oh, there he is. Look at the flashes of lightning. We got like a decent little mezzo on this storm. You can see it. Again, it's nighttime, so it's going to be hard to really see it, but... got a decent little mezzo, really good structure. This is the one that could eventually go tornadic.
Not much in the way of surface winds, though.
Yeah, hey, and the new file you sent me does not have...
like a bunch of craps firing out in front of it now.
Does not have it, unless I download the wrong one. Also, this is Storm Runner Media, who is on this cell as well, and they also have a view of it a little bit further back.
Oh, this is Corey.
We go back to Corey. Corey was right on it.
Wait, what'd you say? I couldn't hear you over that truck.
No, I was just saying turn off your brights because it was like right in my eyes, but then I was like, actually, never mind. It's just your LED headlights. The brights made no difference.
Once again, if you're just tuning in, this is the storm near Duncan, Oklahoma. Lots of lightning. There is a little bit of a mesocyclone by the looks of it, or at least a little lowering near Duncan. We don't have a whole lot of rotation on radar. There's a little bit of view of it. It looks a little elevated to me.
Did you guys see this little sculpted base that's floating right here?
Yeah, you can see the little core just off to the west. It's pretty cool.
Go back to the 3-cam view. But yeah, that's a pretty decent looking storm there. Back over into Texas right now, we have a big hail core. Once again, that's moving towards the south side of Stephenville. This is currently producing baseball-sized hail. Moving to the northeast. Towards Glen Rose and Granbury. Lots of lightning, by the way. I honestly wish we had a chaser in this area, because the amount of lightning on this... Like, looking at the lightning map, there are so many flashes of lightning. The two at the bottom are on the southwest Oklahoma storm, but... Man, there is a ton of lightning on this cell. Actually, kind of crazy. Any idea when to hit Stephenville? The hail core right now is actually going just to your south. It's going more due east right now towards Glen Rose and Meridian. It's been turning a little bit. It's actually going more east, but if you end up getting hail, which I think you'll get at least a little bit on the south side, it'll be more in the range of $quarter to $half size, more than likely on the south side of town over the next like 10 to 15 minutes. Hey, Gage for the super chat, can't speak. Back over in western Missouri is his question, and currently we do have some storms that are moving through Kansas City. These are not currently severe, but there is lightning, so don't be caught off guard by that. Some gusty winds, some small hail are our main concerns as these continue to track to the east. All right, John has an update for us on the Duncan storm, which is the one that Corey Gherkin is currently looking at. And Storm Intermedia, let's go ahead and go to John with the latest update. Go ahead.
All right, so for the environment for the storm in Duncan, we are currently seeing that METAR reports in the area are showing dew points to be about 2 to 4 degrees higher than what we're originally expecting from the HRRR model runs. So this storm is definitely having a lot more moisture and energy available for it to grow. And then ahead of the storm, we're also seeing dew point temperatures around 68 with a surface temperature of 72, closer to Ada, Oklahoma. So when the storm starts getting towards that direction, again, a lot of moisture is available to these storms, just whether or not the inversion can be burnt off as stated previously. So we're definitely seeing these storms be more intense than we were originally forecasting.
That is an interesting little fact. So thank you, John. That's actually interesting, though, because we do have an environment out here in southern Oklahoma, which if a storm is able to stay discrete, which we have currently, I'm surprised the dew points are actually higher than I thought they were. They're in the mid to upper 60s. So this storm, again, it's a little elevated right now, but it definitely could become something that's tornadic. It's not impossible. As we continue to go throughout the evening hours here, we need to definitely watch that closely. Also, this is from Corey Gherkin moments ago. This is his video. I'm just going to show you guys so you guys can see it a little bit better here. This is video shot of this storm and the structure. I'm going to try to pause it when you can actually see it a little bit better. You can kind of see it here. And a little decent, cloud base here. It's not crazy, but it's at least decent. A little lowering there. Plenty of lightning, obviously very ominous, but it's a little bit better of a look at that. Obviously, when you're looking at a live shot, you can't really pause it, so that's really the best way to see it. But that's what the storm is looking like right now near Duncan, and we just got a report of quarter-sized hail in Duncan, Oklahoma. Lisa, Fort Wayne, Indiana, it's mostly going to be during the later half of the afternoon into the early evening. Should be mainly wind up there, maybe an isolated tornado. If you want more specific details on timing, I definitely recommend watching today's forecast. By the way, we'll have another forecast tomorrow morning for those that are wondering. It'll be out bright and early at like 6 a.m. Central Time. That way, I know a lot of you guys are probably going to be wondering about new updates regarding tomorrow's severe weather outbreak. We'll have a video tomorrow morning for you. Make sure you have the bell icon clicked down below so you're notified when that does come out. And also, click the bell icon so you're notified when we go live tomorrow. We'll have a full-blown live stream, bunch of storm chasers and everything. Definitely recommend you check that out. Let's go to Storm Runner Media, who is currently on this storm near Duncan. They're getting some pretty good shots right now of this cell. Also, this storm was just upgraded. We are now up to ping pong ball sized hail. So again, the storm that they're looking at right now.
Those are chasers. I was trying to figure out what they're doing.
Do you think Bartleville will be hit tonight? I think Bartleville will be hit tonight. at least with some isolated damaging winds and hail. Low tornado risk.
It's looking a little bit more sus, like something else right now.
What am I drinking? I am drinking a Snapple tea.
Yeah, these storms have a certain shape to them right now.
Shout out to Michael with the 10 gifted memberships. I appreciate that. How about Durant, Oklahoma? Or how do you feel about Durant right now? I don't think we're going to see much in Durant for another 2 to 3 hours. It'll be mostly some isolated hail and wind. All right, we're going to go back to live radar. We'll put Storm Intermedia on the bottom right there. Quick little update. In and around the Oklahoma City area, we have not had any discrete cells fire off here yet. We still got about an hour or so until, you know, the last chance for that happening would be. But for the time being, we have had a pretty strong cap in place, which, again, for now is still pretty strong. So nothing's developed right now in and around the Oklahoma City area. We do have a storm that is racing to the northeast that will be approaching the southwest side of the Oklahoma City metro in the next 30 minutes near Tuttle, Blanchard, and Norman for quarter-sized hail. That could definitely intensify as it moves north. We have a lot of elevated storms across northern Oklahoma with some gusty winds and small hail. They have issued a new severe thunderstorm warning as well near Enid for quarter-sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. And then we do have storms now rolling through Kansas City. If you are in Kansas City, you kind of just got split. There's a line of storms that are not really a line, but a broken line that was moving through, and it looks like Overland Park basically got missed by any sort of rain. So that is a classic little storm that just completely missed you. Back over in Texas, we still have a major hailstorm that is happening near Stephenville, Texas. The worst of this hail is now approaching Hyco and eventually towards Morgan, Meridian, Whitney, and Glen Rose, Texas. Again, tracking to the east with baseball-sized hail, 65-mile-per-hour damaging winds, a ton of lightning, and there is a tornado possible label on this cell, which means that we may end up seeing at least a low-end chance for a tornado. We also got a little bit of lightning now in the cells near Fort Worth. This is a severe warned storm for damaging winds, or sorry, not damaging, or actually, no, there are damaging winds now. So they have put a label here of 60-mile-per-hour damaging winds and quarter-sized hail on this cell. Moving to the northeast towards Denton. And then further to the north, we have had a storm here that's been going for a while. No warning on that. They have now just issued a severe thunderstorm warning for the Oklahoma City area. So Oklahoma City, you are now officially in a severe thunderstorm warning for golf ball-sized hail. So be ready for that. Protect your vehicle if you can. And stay away from windows as the storm continues to move to the north-northeast. Also, shout out to Zach for the Venmo for keeping us safe. I appreciate that. Anything to be worried about in Dallas? There's definitely some storms off to your west that could become a concern. The main concern is really the one that's east of Stephenville now, or just south of Stephenville. But this one's going to track to your south. It's going to depend on if we see anything else initiate around Fort Worth or around Cleburne, which is possible. And we could see a storm or two form here, and we could definitely get a big hailstorm in the area. Keep in mind that, like, the future radar, for example, like the HRRR was very strongly indicating a line, almost like a broken line of storms developing, kind of just like a bunch of storms all near each other. So we're starting to see something like that now that might become a little bit more prevalent in about an hour, where we have maybe a storm that kind of fills the gap, but definitely not for certain yet. But, you know, if you're in Dallas, you're not out of the neck of the woods here for a severe storm for sure. Do you think that next week, Wednesday, will be the start of a very active April? I mean, honestly, the active stretch of severe weather begins tonight. Tonight is not the big day, by the way. I mean, we're kind of in a lower-end spectrum of severe weather. This is a slight risk. It's not an enhanced risk or anything like that. This is, I think, our second time now in a row going live for a slight risk, but that's going to change tomorrow, where we'll probably end up having a moderate risk of severe weather for our maximum risk, if I had to guess. But yeah, I mean, this is a beginning of a very active stretch of weather. We're gonna have a bunch of severe weather basically every single day, starting today, running all the way probably at least through this upcoming weekend. So we're gonna have a good 7 to 10 days in a row of severe weather, and we'll definitely be live tomorrow. We're gonna be possibly live on Monday. We'll see what happens there, and then we'll be live on Wednesday. We probably will be also live on Tuesday, and might be live on Thursday. I mean, we might be literally live every single day. All right, we did just get a new severe thunderstorm warning. It's a large one for Glen Rose, Meridian, Morgan, Hyco, and Stephenville, Texas. This is going to be for 2-inch sized hail. So it has been downgraded from baseballs to hen egg sized hail, which, by the way, is an observed threat. So this is actually observed hail, in addition to 60-mile-per-hour damaging winds that are tracking to the east. Long term, it'll go towards Hillsborough, Texas, Cleburne, and Waxahachie. So if you're in any of those areas, I'd be protecting your vehicle and protecting any loose line items as well. By the way, our chances of being live on Monday are low. I'm just looking at the latest run of models here. We're definitely going to be live tomorrow. The chances on Monday are low. They're not zero, but they're definitely low, because it's going to be mostly wind. This is from Falcon Chasing on the gold weight area, which is, I don't even know where. Isn't that like over here somewhere? So it's somewhere near the cell. This is the structure shot just moments ago from Falcon Chasing, or Falcon Storm Chasing on Twitter. Very impressive shot. This is the only chaser that I'm aware of, at least, that has at least some photos coming in on these cells. That's a little view, and it's like a pancake structure. You can see the different layers. 4 different layers of pancakes. Max, why is it so dark in Texas? Well, the sun did set. And then you got storms. Alright, we do have a new report. John has 3 hail reports for us. Let's go ahead and go to John. Go ahead.
All right. So actually, we now have 4 reports. So starting in Texas, in Eagle Mountain, Texas, in Tarrant County, we have reports of quarter-size hail in our storm. Looks like to be north of Fort Worth. And then in the Dublin storm, we have reports of egg-size hail, so that being 2 inches in size, coming from that storm. Then back in Oklahoma, we have 2 reports, one in Chickasha for ping pong size hail, or sorry, correction, golf ball size hail from law enforcement. And then down in Bray, we have another report of, yet again, golf ball size hail. So all these storms are producing very destructive hail. So if you have anything that is able to be damaged, I would highly recommend bringing that in before these storms get to your area.
Alrighty, thank you, John, for the report. And yeah, so 2 different storms here in Oklahoma. One's moving more east towards Pauls Valley. The other one moving more towards Oklahoma City. Golf ball sized hail on this cell. And this one's, again, going right to Oklahoma City. So if you're in Oklahoma City, you might want to protect your vehicle. Hopefully you've already done that, but if you've not already, definitely recommend you doing that before the storm approaches the Oklahoma City metro. And then this one has actually been uptrending. We are seeing a bit more of a hail core approaching actually where storm intermediate is right now, but it's near Highway 76. It'll be approaching Elmore City, Pauls Valley, Maysville, and eventually Wynwood. Little hail core there over Highway 29 moving to the east. So that's been exploding a little bit more here over the last few minutes. And it will continue to move east, and also in Duncan, Oklahoma, excuse me. We've had a lot of hail there, a lot of different hail reports, ranging from quarters to ping pong ball sized hail. Also, a new hail report just came in near Fort Worth. This is in Eagle Mountain, Texas, of quarter sized hail. So that's the storm that is currently approaching Flower Mound, Denton, and Corinth. And not expecting a tornado risk out of this activity, but we do have some hail. And then in Stephenville, the highest hail report that we've had so far is the 2-inch diameter hail, which is via an MPing report near Dublin. And that is egg-sized hail. Otherwise, you can call it... There's another size, can't remember. It's at least... There's egg-sized hail. Lime-sized hail is the other one. So if you can compare and contrast. It's 2 inches in diameter, though. We did just get an upgrade on the warning for Grant and Garfield counties in Oklahoma. That's near Enid. That is now up to $50 sized hail. So just north of Enid, going towards Pond Creek. Lamont will also be in the track of this. We're now up to $50 sized hail, moving to the northeast. Thank you, Tyler, for becoming a VIP Velocity member. Really appreciate that. Thank you, Eid, for the super chat. Springfield, Missouri will be mostly wind. No problem, Jay. Yeah, I mean, if you can, I'm pretty sure it's not too hard to fix. Appreciate the super chat. How's Decatur, Texas looking tonight? Decatur, Texas is already behind the main activity. It's mostly just going to be some pop-up showers and storms in your area, but nothing severe really anticipated there. The severe thunderstorm watch does go until 2 a.m. here in Texas. But keep in mind, if you're behind the dry line, which is basically this white line here, if you're behind this, the significant severe weather risk has already passed you. So, some good news. New severe thunderstorm warning just south of Norman, going towards Shawnee and Texuma. That'll be for quarter-sized hail. Approaching Interstate 35 near Purcell and Slaughterville in Noble. But our more significant risk, again, is the storm that is beelining it to Oklahoma City. Put Oklahoma City on the bottom right there. And we'll probably stay here for a moment. Northwest Arkansas tonight. It should be mostly an isolated. It'll be like an isolated damaging wind risk for that area. Huge shout out to Tyler with the 10 gifted memberships. W's in the chat for Tyler. If you got to get the membership, make sure to thank him in the chat as well. Shout out to Melissa also for picking up merch at shopmaxvelocity.net. Is Memphis, Tennessee good? Yeah, for tonight you're good. Tomorrow it's going to be a very active day. I'll show you guys the future radar here for tomorrow. So once again, tomorrow going to be a very active day. This is what it's going to look like just after lunchtime tomorrow. We'll have some storms out there in Illinois and Indiana. By the late afternoon and evening, that is when storms really pop off across Arkansas, southern Illinois. Several discrete supercells are expected, which means that we'll more than likely have strong and long track tornadoes, very large hail, and significant downburst damaging winds. By the evening hours, so right around dinner time, 6, 7 o'clock, we're going to have more of a line of storms forming. Any cells that are still discrete will produce the potential for a significant tornado risk. And then by the late evening and into the, by the late evening, so around 8 to 9 o'clock, these storms will be moving into Kentucky, Tennessee, Mississippi, Arkansas, and even Louisiana, where numerous damaging winds, large hail, and a few embedded tornadoes will continue. The good news is that after midnight, we're mainly at a wind risk at this point. There will still be a few tornadoes possible, but it's going to be more of a wind risk into the overnight hours. And unfortunately, we are going to have more than likely an intense line of storms by Monday morning back over in the southeast. Look at this line by 7 a.m. in Alabama, Mississippi, and Louisiana. Very pronounced line of thunderstorms. If we mix that with the significant tornado parameter values, you'll notice that we definitely have an environment here where a couple or a few tornadoes will be possible down here in the Dixie Alley. So not a good sign for Monday morning. And then by the late morning hours, this line of storms will continue with some scattered to numerous damaging winds. We're probably going to have an enhanced risk of severe weather in Alabama and Georgia for wind more than anything. And then just after lunchtime, this line continues to push towards the coastline. Some storms possible in northern Florida, around South Carolina and North Carolina. And then on Monday, if you're back over on the East Coast, we're talking mainly about a risk during the mid to late afternoon and early evening in and around Washington, D.C., North Carolina, Virginia, and South Carolina. I'm going to be honest, I don't see there being much of a tornado risk on Monday unless you're in the southeast. I think the main area, the main corridor would be here for tornadoes. I think we'll have at least a 5% in this area. And then back over in like Maryland, the Carolinas, Virginia, this will probably be a 2%. I think we'll have a few rotating cells there, maybe a tornado or two possible, but that's what I'm thinking right now. All right, back to what's happening now. But we actually have to go to a new update. We have a new mesoscale discussion from the Storm Prediction Center for the severe weather tonight. Well, this is an interesting little outlook, and it kind of goes with what we've been talking about, but they have just mentioned that the severe weather threat is expected to continue into the late evening and may gradually expand in coverage, and there's also the potential for a tornado threat developing over the next couple of hours in central Oklahoma. So the next 2 hours will be critical again for a tornado threat. If we end up seeing a discrete cell that's surface-based, a tornado or two are definitely in play in central Oklahoma. We have plenty of wind shear and also a lot of instability still. No problem, Daniel. Appreciate the super chat. I'm glad I can help you with coverage. Right now, the storms that are south of Oklahoma City, none of them are rotating. It's mostly hail and wind. But we do have a big hailstorm that's heading right to Oklahoma City. Big hail core near I-44. And this is beelining it to the northeast. If you are in Oklahoma City, be ready for the large hail threat. If you know any friends or family in Oklahoma City, make sure that they are aware of the potential here for golf ball sized hail. Hopefully they're protecting their vehicles, bringing any sort of patio furniture under a cover or something like that. Same thing goes for any of these hailstorms. Again, we got a bunch of hailstorms. That's really one of the main ones. Very high population density. But we still have some hailstorms even in and around the Fort Worth area near Dallas. Between Flower Mound, Denton, and Fort Worth, quarter-sized hail is possible out of these little cells that are moving into the western half of Dallas-Fort Worth. And then our 2-inch sized hailstorm, which is lime-sized or egg-sized hail, is currently near Stephenville and Dublin. That'll be approaching Glen Rose, Meridian, Morgan, Whitney, Cleburne, Hillsboro, and eventually Waxahachie, Texas over the next hour. We are once again starting to see a little bit of rotation just east of Brownwood. So maybe a little bit of rotation, but I'm again thinking that might be hail contamination. Let me see if we have another radar view on this. Not seeing a whole lot from the other radar site. There might be a little bit of rotation, though, near Mullen. So perhaps a little meso forming on this, but if I had to guess, it's probably more on the side of just some wind and some hail. Let's go over to Storm Intermedia. I think they're driving through a hail core right now. I can't really tell. Are they driving through a hail core? Storm Intermedia is currently driving through hail. They're sampling the hail, if you will. I'm not sure if it's intentional or not. If I had to guess, this is probably intentional. But they are driving through hail. This is east of Marlow and south of Lindsay in Oklahoma, just west of I-35. But that is actively some $quarter to $half sized hail coming through. Thank you, Debbie, for becoming a member. It's a chance for hail in Melissa, Texas. It is on the, I wouldn't say low side, but it's kind of low medium right now. The highest hailstone size in Melissa will probably be around $quarter to $half, unless a storm really intensifies there, which currently does not look like it. Kopic has a lowering. Let's go to Brandon Kopic, who's live on YouTube as well. Would you look at that? Is that a lowering? I think that might be right there. Beyond the tree line. A good flash of lightning, we might see something.
Get the camera around to it.
It looked like there was a lowering back there. There's a little bit of something. It's behind the tree line. There was a report of a rotating wall cloud 13 minutes ago near Duncan, Oklahoma. So this cell apparently does have at least a wall cloud with it.
Yeah, I mean, we go north.
At least as of 13 minutes ago. That could have changed, but there was a report of a rotating wall cloud, and I think that's what Brandon is looking at. There's a little opening right there, and you can see it there. Yeah, there is a little lowering. It's the storm near Maysville, I believe, now, and moving towards Purcell.
On 76, then we're going to go east on 19. I think we're behind everybody else.
Hey, Tyler, appreciate that. Appreciate the generosity.
Interesting up there, guys,
northwest Oklahoma. I do feel like northwest Oklahoma gets missed a lot with severe weather.
Channel 3.
Once again, if you look right there in the middle, that is a little wall cloud that is formed on this storm. Near Maysville and Purcell, Oklahoma. Rotation on radar is not impressive. That could definitely change. All right, we'll keep a close eye on Brandon as he continues to observe that storm. And again, this is the one that we're talking about here. We got a couple different cells that are both tracking to the northeast. This one just to the west of wind would be probably the one that he's looking at. It's moving a bit more to the right. The other cell splitting to the north. West of Norman, going towards Oklahoma City, golf ball sized tail is currently approaching. If you're in Oklahoma City, once again, golf ball sized tail is approaching. You are in Oklahoma City or Yukon, please make sure that you are aware of this situation and staying away from windows as the storm approaches. Not really much of a wind risk with that. If you have any friends or family in this area, make sure that they are aware of the hail risk, protect loose line items, all that sort of stuff. You got a few minutes until this storm is knocking on your doorstep. And bottom right of your screen is a live shot there in Oklahoma City. Move back to the 3-cam view, and I'm also going to put Brandon, I think, bottom left. Brandon Kopic has the lowering. I'll put Brandon right there. All right. Hey, Danny, appreciate the super chat. Also, thank you just for the super chat. And Ada, Oklahoma, nothing right now. You got probably about another hour until you see some storms. But it's more broken down here, so there's a chance you might not even see anything. I think the better chance will be off to your north and west. There are a couple little cells that have tried to get going, but I mean, for the record, this storm began near Henrietta, Texas, about an hour ago or so, and is really still struggling to do anything. It's mostly just maybe some small hail and gusty winds at worst case scenario. We still have a severe thunderstorm warning for 3 more minutes in the Dallas-Fort Worth area near Flower Mound and Denton. A little bit of quarter-sized hail is possible. Actually, look at this. As of about 20 minutes ago, we had ping-pong ball-sized hail reported in Hazlet, Texas. That's again approaching Flower Mound, Corinth, and eventually Frisco. So that's actually a little bit more significant than I initially thought. And then back over near Stephenville, Texas. This is the storm that was warned at one point for baseball-sized hail. It is approaching Glen Rose with hen egg-sized hail. Morgan and Meridian are also in the track of this. And a little further down to the south near Hamilton, we do have a little cell that is moving off to the east at about 40 miles per hour, producing quarter-sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour damaging winds. Other than that, no other severe weather currently, at least in Oklahoma and Texas. We do have one severe storm that is just off to the north of Oklahoma, or north of Kansas City, excuse me, in northwest Missouri near Plattsburgh. And that is going to be for quarter-sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. Once again, our tornado risk may increase over the next couple of hours in central Oklahoma. Brandon Kopic has had a lowering over the last several minutes on the bottom left of your screen. So we're keeping a very close eye on him. Near the Maysville storm is the area that he's currently in. Huge shout out to Kim with the very generous super chat. Put some W's in the chat for Kim. Really appreciate the generosity. Storm right now approaching Purcell is definitely a bit more on the concerning side of things. We definitely have a big hail core right now approaching I-35. Hopefully anybody that's traveling along I-35 is not running into anything too crazy, but we definitely have a big hail core approaching I-35 between Pauls Valley and Norman. you are traveling on I-35 north or southbound, might be a good idea to get off and stay off the road, at least through this corridor here, as we do have a pretty big hail core. It's going to be moving through the I-35 stretch over the next 5 to 10 minutes. Possible, try to avoid that. Don't park under an overpass. Is probably the worst thing that you can do. Apparently today in Ontario, is that Oregon? Yeah, in Ontario, Oregon today, we had a record amount of rainfall apparently today. Daily record was broken. Just got a new severe thunderstorm warning. This is going to be for the Dallas-Fort Worth area near Denton. Okay, we got a big upgrade. All right, well, we're first going to talk about this. For those in Denton County near Flower Mound, Denton, Corinth, Frisco, just west of Frisco, Texas. Again, northern Tarrant County, central, eastern Denton County, and a small sliver of Wise County. You're included in this severe thunderstorm warning for half-dollar sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour damaging winds. The storm for Oklahoma City has had a big upgrade. We're now up to tennis ball sized hail for Oklahoma City. This right here near Tuttle, going towards Mustang and Oklahoma City. That is a big hail core that is currently approaching Oklahoma City. If you are in Oklahoma City, if you're in Yukon, you need to be staying away from windows. A significant hailstorm is approaching your area. If you have any friends or family in Oklahoma City, please make sure that they are aware of this. That's a big upgrade. That's more destructive type hail that we're talking about now for the Oklahoma City metro near Bethany, Yukon, Wheatland, Mustang, Valley Brook, I-40 and I-240 are in the track of that. But this is definitely a more concerning cell now, approaching Oklahoma City. The Will Rogers International Airport is also in the track of this, which is not a good thing. There are planes that are at that airport, and if we have tennis ball sized hail there, that could definitely be damaging. The worst of this hail core is right now moving into Mustang over the next 5 minutes. There is the Hampton Inn in Mustang. There's a Walmart Supercenter, the Lowe's Home Improvement Store, Swadley's Barbecue, Tractor Supply. Atwood's are some of the main locations right now in the track of up to tennis ball sized hail in Mustang. But man, the Will Rogers Airport is literally in this warning. I mean, that's a big airport. That's right here. Let's hope the hail core misses it, but that'd be very damaging to planes. This is a video moments ago from Foster, Oklahoma. This is Corey Gherkin driving right through the hail. This is over at Foster, Oklahoma moments ago. The road, by the looks of it near the beginning of this video, was painted in hail. You can kind of see it here at the beginning. Look at all the... It's just basically painted in hail. It's almost accumulating on the road. This is a little bit later in the video, but tons of hail. Even got heavier near the end here. So, yeah, I mean, that gives you an idea. That's not even the you know, tennis ball sized hailstorm, but that's still pretty significant. And we just got another severe thunderstorm warning in Oklahoma. That will be for Blaine, Major, and Garfield counties for 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-sized hail. But again, one of our biggest focuses right now is the storm that is approaching Oklahoma City. The tennis ball-sized hail is going to be located. It's literally approaching the south side of Mustang as we speak. So Hampton in Mustang is just about to be hit by a tennis ball-sized hail core. Got the Mustang Performing Arts Center, the Mustang High School. Luckily, it's 10:18 p.m., so hopefully nobody's at school right now or performing any sort of arts. Because otherwise, your cars are probably going to be damaged down the parking lot when you get out there. I mean, that's a big hail core coming right to the south side of town. But over the next 2 to 3 minutes, this will be hitting the Mustang High School, Mustang Performing Arts Center. There is also a Brahms ice cream and dairy store along North Mustang Road that is going to be in the track of a tennis ball sized hail core. All right, we do have a new report from John about hail. Let's go ahead and go to John. Go ahead. You are muted.
It's going to happen eventually. All right. Looking back in Stephenville, back in Texas, our storm that just passed through the area, looks like we're getting reports of about inch and a quarter size hail. So looks like that storm is producing some damaging hail in that case. Not sure what size of hail it's producing now, but again, if you have anything damaging outside, especially for those in the Glen Rose area or anybody in front of that storm, definitely start bringing your stuff in and seek shelter.
All righty, thank you, John. That's back over near Stephenville, Texas. Oh, is there actually a camera on the west side of town? Hey, can you give me the actual link? Those two don't work. Once again, if you are just tuning in, significant hailstorm right now approaching the west side of Oklahoma City, some of the suburbs, including Mustang. You got the Will Rogers International Airport that is just off to the east right now, the most substantial part of the hail. Yukon and Bethany will be hit over the next few minutes. And again, when we look at the correlation coefficient, it basically depicts stuff other than rain that are currently falling out of the sky. And currently we have hail falling, and it's all across the Mustang area. This is currently hitting many different locations like the high school. There's a Brahms here. The Wild Hero coffee store might be getting hit by this. Got a bunch of communities too. I mean, there's a ton of homes here. Like, this is not just like a business place. There are a ton of homes in Mustang, Oklahoma that are being hit by a pretty significant hail core. Just down to the south and west of Oklahoma City. Thank you, Kim, for becoming a member. All right, we do have a new radar scan coming in. Let's go back down to Texas just for a moment. The hailstorm that was at one point producing up to baseball-sized hail near Stephenville has been weakening a little bit. It is going to become, I think, more of a wind risk. There could still be some hail as that moves towards Glen Rose and Cleburne over the next several minutes. And we have a storm near Hamilton as well that's producing a little bit of quarter-sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. If you're back over in Denton, Flower Mound, or near Frisco, main concern is hail around $half sized or so, maybe just a little bit under that. We did have at one point a report of ping-pong ball-sized hail, and that's right now approaching Corneth, Flower Mound, and also I-35 eastbound. So Frisco will be in the track of this in the next half hour, and then also McKinney. Really anywhere there in northwestern Collin County. You're also in the path of that. We got a little segment of storms as well forming just to the south and west of Gainesville, moving towards I-35. That is currently tracking to the northeast. And we also got a big hail core right now moving right along I-35 near Purcell and Slaughterville and Noble. Going eventually towards Shawnee and near Lindsay. Also, we do have a new warning for Erath and Hood counties in Texas for $half-sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. All right, tennis ball-sized hail is now moving right over the town of Mustang. This is the latest radar scan. Will Rogers Airport might be narrowly missed by this tennis ball-sized hail, but that tennis ball-sized hail is over the town of Mustang. It's approaching I-344 over the next couple of minutes. So I-344, you are about to be hit by this hail. By the way, Hayden, can you just put it in the program? I can just pull it up on there. I'll just do that. If there's anything there. If there's anything like in this corridor, it'd have to be west of Oklahoma City here. Anybody currently watching from Mustang to Mustang, Oklahoma? Just curious. If anybody is getting any reports of hail in the area, let me know. I'm in Mustang. Pretty strong hail happening right now. Somebody in chat just said I'm in Mustang pea-sized hail. Somebody else just said it's hailing. And right now, the correlation coefficient, which again depicts different particles that are not rain that are falling from the sky, it's mainly centered over Mustang. It looks like maybe the more significant part of it is on the west side of Mustang. Reflectivity really has the worst of it over the south side as of 3 minutes ago. The worst might still be to come there for Mustang. This is the latest scan, so it's now the worst of it is going to be over the north side of Mustang, for the tennis ball sized hail, or up the tennis ball sized hail, approaching I-344 right now. So this is approaching Westbury South, Westbrook Estates, winds west. There's also a Hobby Lobby distribution center that is right here that could get hit by some of this hail. But more in the direct path would be right up I-344 for about 5 miles, which will be approaching the Aerox Corporation, Comfort Suites in Yukon, Home 2 Suites as well in Oklahoma City, Yukon, Sun Valley Acres, which is another community, and then the Lakeview Estates, which is a much bigger community, will be in the track of this in about 5 to 10 minutes. And we did just get a new severe thunderstorm warning in North Texas for Wise, Cook, and Denton counties. That'll be for half-dollar sized hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds right here. So that little cluster of storms that's developed, again, not tornadic by any means, but it will produce some large hail and damaging winds as it tracks northeast. And we're also beginning to see a bit more of an organized line of storms forming in southern Oklahoma. So this will turn into more of a wind risk and hail risk. Still a potential maybe for a tornado out of this activity. I think it's a low chance, but it's definitely not zero. And we also have a line of storms forming all the way back over to the west of Oklahoma City. Large hail, damaging winds, and a ton of lightning. It's going to be rolling in. Thank you, Brian, for the super chat. Cheese Curd's doing well. I think she's just sleeping right now. She's been very active today before I went live. Any concerns for Shreveport? Not really. I mean, there could be some like isolated gusty winds early tomorrow morning, but really your main concern will be tomorrow, which will be mostly hail and wind in Shreveport if you get anything. Caddo and Washita County in Oklahoma, you are now in a new warning for half-dollar sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds south of Weatherford. And once again, we have tennis ball sized hail right now on the west side of the Oklahoma City Metro. I'll have another radar scan in a second, but it's basically traveling right up I-344, the Will Rogers International Airport. I think narrowly got missed by the significant hail, which is good news, because there's probably a lot of planes out there that could have taken some pretty significant damage from the hail that we're seeing. Wow, okay, so we just had a big uptrend. Latest radar scan showing an even larger hail core. Starting to see some higher DBZ values approaching I-40. So that's an uptrend. We're probably at or maybe even above tennis ball sized hail now. Yeah, that's a pretty sizable little hail core here. So the hail is actually increasing in size just west of Oklahoma City. There are a couple of cameras. A little too far east. Is there anything along I-344 further west, Hayne? Or is this it? This is just off to the east of the hail core right now. A little live shot in the Oklahoma traffic cam. Not many people on the roadway, which is good news. At least on, I think this is I-344. Aren't many people on the roadways right now, but frequent lightning. The roads have a little bit of puddling as well, so there could be a potential for hydroplaning as well. Yeah, that main one, the furthest left one on that map, add that. I'll show it. That's where the hail core is going to go right over, I'm pretty sure. By the way, emergency management did observe this hail, for those that are wondering. So this is a confirmed tennis ball sized hail risk. And if I had to guess, I really think we have tennis ball sized hail right now that's moving into the west side of the Oklahoma City Metro. Bethany is in the direct path of this. A few different residential areas like Woodlawn Park. Occasion, I'll have a video tomorrow morning talking all about that. We're going to talk in detail about Sunday and Monday's threat of severe weather. So, yeah, we'll definitely talk about that more in detail. They have issued a new severe thunderstorm warning for Canadian. Okay, so it's going to be this storm. So near Oklahoma City, they have issued a new warning for Canadian, Oklahoma, and Logan counties. That'll be for ping pong ball-sized hail. We'll see what the latest radar scan shows. I wouldn't be surprised, again, if we still have around tennis ball-sized hail here near Mustang. But the most recent report that we have, that is as of about 13 minutes ago, is from the fire department and rescue team, a little southwest there of Mustang, of around quarter-sized hail. This is the latest radar scan, and again, the worst of the hail will be right over I-40 now, near the Hobby Lobby Distribution Center. There is a large lake, I'm pretty sure, here. Or it's going to be coming up on a big lake. That's a lake. It's near the OKC Outlets Pilot Travel Center along I-40. Texas Roadhouse, Golden Corral. There's a lot of neighborhoods. I mean, there's a lot of neighborhoods. You can see all the roads on the map if you look closely. There are a ton of neighborhoods here on the north and west side of Oklahoma City that are currently in the track of a hailstorm. Hopefully, if you've not already, if you're like an Edmond or Guthrie, make sure to protect your car if you can. Definitely got a big hail risk right now moving through these areas. Shout out to Spicy Peppers with the super chat. Will the weather be pretty bad for Northeast Ohio tomorrow? I think it'll be mostly wind in Northeast Ohio, maybe a tornado or two, but it'll be more of a line of thunderstorms for your area. Also, thank you, Roderick, for becoming a member. Welcome to the Velocities. I think that camera's barely being missed by this. This is what it looks like right now near the severe storm. This is on I-344 on the Oklahoma traffic cam. Gusty winds. Camera's shaking just a little bit. The main core of this storm, I think, is just going to be off to the left. This is looking south. So we're really not seeing a whole lot here. The hail core, I think, just narrowly missed this camera. But if we see something, I'll pull it back up. Thank you, Ryan, for the super chat, and also Veronica for becoming a member. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning just south of Kansas City, going towards Holden. That is going to be for quarter-sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. The other severe storm that we had near Smithville, that one is fizzling. So that storm has just been cut off. The updraft is much weaker, but there was 1-inch hail at the peak of that near Smithville. We have a slew of severe thunderstorm warnings right now all across Oklahoma. We got a bunch back over in western central Oklahoma. We have one over the Oklahoma City Metro, and then we have a couple just to the south of Norman. Mainly a wind risk as of right now, but again, an isolated tornado is still possible over the next hour if any of these storms can organize. Near Dallas and Fort Worth, we have a couple of different severe thunderstorm warnings, one near Corinth and Denton, and the other one near Decatur. All for quarter-sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour damaging winds tracking to the northeast. And then southwest of Fort Worth, we got a slew of thunderstorms here as well with a bunch of lightning. We have lime-sized hail just east of Stephenville, approaching Glen Rose. It'll eventually go towards Cleburne, Meridian, Whitney, and Hillsborough, Texas over the next 30 to 45 minutes. All right, we do have a new report from John on the hail reports, and I'm going to take a quick 60-second break, so try to fill 60 seconds. I'll be back, but go ahead, John. Make sure you're unmuted.
All right. So just looking at back our storm in Chickasha, or now actually no, going south of Oklahoma City. Back in Chickasha, when this storm was over that area, looks like we have a storm report from Nika, Oklahoma, in Grady County. Looks like we had actually egg-sized hail reported from the public. But then, as the storm progressed over to Purcell, Oklahoma, just to the east of that, we now have a report of 1 3/4 size hail, which, putting that in perspective for the actual size of it, 1 second. Looks like we are looking at golf ball size hail. So even though the storm has progressed from that area, this storm is producing a large hail, large destructive hail that you definitely, again, want to make sure that you're seeking shelter from this area or from the storm and staying indoors. Make sure all your destructibles are inside, especially if you're in front of this storm and you have time to prepare. So again, this is something you still want to take seriously. You may not think that hail is going to affect you, but definitely if you're in front of these storms, if the updraft is strong enough to keep moisture aloft, you'll definitely start getting damaging hail in the region. So just keep an eye on this storm, especially in front of this band of storms.
Alrighty, thank you, John, for the update. We are getting a few more upgrades for hail. A bunch of storms just received upgrades. We got one in Caddo and Blaine counties in Oklahoma. Where is that? That is this one. So this one east of Clifton near Weatherford, that was upgraded to $half sized hail. The one in Johnson and Cass counties in Missouri, so all the way south of Kansas City, this just got upgraded to ping pong ball sized hail. And that's again tracking towards Holden, Warrensburg, and Knob, Nonster, south of Concordia. And then the storm in Mills County, Texas, which is east of Brownwood, that was just upgraded to $half sized hail. So we just got 3 different upgrades in the last basically 60 seconds. So a bunch of different hail upgrades. Again, the most concerning storm is the one that's near Oklahoma City. But at this point, this one is more geared towards hail, around ping pong ball sized hail. So not nearly as large as before. But west side of Oklahoma City, we still got a hail core moving through Bethany right now. Actually, a lot of hail still falling, even if it's not super big. I mean, ping pong is still large enough to cause damage, but it's not as large as tennis balls, which is good. But we are still talking about somewhat damaging hail near Bethany. It's going to be moving into the Village and then eventually Edmond and traveling towards I-35 over the next several minutes. Again, this storm pretty much moving northeast at about 40 miles per hour. So just narrowly missing the downtown area of Oklahoma City, but definitely producing some hail damage as it continues to track to the northeast. All right, let me go back to chat here. Please do a video on DFW for Wednesday. It's my birthday. Happy birthday, by the way. We'll have a video tomorrow talking more in detail about what's happening Sunday and Monday. For those that are asking questions about tomorrow, we'll be answering probably all of them in tomorrow's video. We're going to go really in detail. That'll be up at about 6 a.m. Central Time. It's going to be up very bright and early. That way it's out there for about 6 hours before we eventually go live. And then we'll be live pretty much all afternoon and evening tomorrow. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Click the bell icon so you're notified when we do go live. And yeah. Why is this camera, like, facing the sky right now? I'm gonna face it to that. How's the ice storm in northern Michigan? It sounds like it's pretty bad, from what I've been hearing. It's gonna get worse by tomorrow morning, but, yeah, I mean, right now, it's pretty terrible. Northern Michigan currently is dealing with a lot of power outages. According to poweroutage.us, we have about 112,000 without power. And for those that are not aware, upwards of an inch of ice is possible over the next 24 to 48 hours with what we've seen and what we've already seen and what is to come. And Wisconsin's honestly the next in line. We have very isolated power outages so far, but power outages could literally last upwards of a week with how much ice that is going to be accumulating here. So, not what you want to see. Not what you want to see. Thank you, Ellis, for the generous super chat, and also Pry for the super chat. Thanks, Max, for the updates, and remember to stay hydrated and take breaks. We are definitely doing that. Appreciate that. Is there a set time when storms will hit central Wisconsin? Storms aren't really going to be hitting central Wisconsin. It would be mostly freezing rain. Freezing rain, snow. Could be a rumble of thunder in southern Wisconsin. That's really about it. It's happening in Killeen, Texas. Nothing's happening right now. You get anything down in Killeen or Temple, it's still about a good hour or so away, maybe an hour and a half. Should be mostly a wind and a hail risk for Texas. Again, our only tornado risk, which right now, again, we have a tornado watch for about 2.5 hours longer. The only tornado risk that I can really see here over the next couple hours would be out of this activity. So, and it really would be the stuff near between Shawnee and Ardmore. But even then, this activity so far has been mostly hail and wind. But we have seen, again, some spots of rotation. We've had some wall clouds and whatnot been reported. So it's very possible that a tornado comes out of this activity at some point. Huge shout out to That's a Shame with a very generous super chat. I have to drive from Chicago to Bloomington, Indiana tomorrow. What time should I leave? I mean, the later you leave, the better, in my opinion. Like, if you can leave, like, you know, mid to late afternoon, early evening, you'll probably be better off. Because the line of thunderstorms will be... I'll just go back to the future radar here. The line of thunderstorms here tomorrow... It'll be mainly, if you're in Chicago, like early mid-afternoon hours, it's around 2 o'clock. Really not much there. The storms will be mostly down to your south and east. So I'm not really too concerned if you're on to Bloomington. Like, if you arrive there by 8, 9 o'clock, you will probably be fine. So just time it out in that facet. Hopefully that helps. But I don't know how long of a drive it is, but assuming it's like 6 hours, then you could probably leave like mid-afternoon or so. I have a little bit of rotation trying to develop here near Wynwood. It's a little difficult to tell, but there might be a little bit of rotation there. We are watching for ping pong ball sized hail right now near Pauls Valley, approaching Asher and Stratford. And we just got a massive severe thunderstorm warning from Hennessy towards Anadarko, west of Oklahoma City. This covers, I think, 9 different counties. At least 9 counties are included in this warning. That'll be for 60-mile-per-hour damaging winds and $50 sized hail. Is tracking to the east. It will eventually go to Oklahoma City. So again, if you're in Oklahoma City, you might have already had some storms like over the last 30 minutes, but there is yet again another one that's going to be coming here soon. Also, here's that tennis ball sized hail report that we had just south of Tuttle near Bridge Creek, Oklahoma. This was correcting the previous report near Bridge Creek. Emergency management, though, confirming or at least reporting tennis ball sized hail there in Grady County. I do think there's a chance here, like just south of Norman, we could get a little QLCS tornado action. We got a little bit of rotation near Pauls Valley. So there's a chance that we maybe even get a tornado embedded in this line as it continues to track northeast. Huge shout out to Michael for another 10 gifted memberships. Put some W's in the chat for Michael. Would you say Michigan has a tornado risk tomorrow? I would, yeah. So tomorrow, you definitely it's not high, but you have a tornado risk up there. I mean, when you think about it, it's a huge area. I could see this being expanded a little further north, by the way, to include a little bit more of Michigan. It could go slightly further north for that 2% tornado risk. But our main concern will be in this region, and I do think we'll have at least a small 15% hatched tornado risk if confidence grows in southeast Missouri, western Kentucky, southern Illinois, and southern Indiana. That circle's a little bit off, really, this area. If we get a 15% tornado risk, which would, again, be a moderate risk for tornadoes, I think that's the area that we would have it in. Thank you, Becca, for becoming a member. But again, tomorrow's going to be a big day. We'll be live pretty much all afternoon and evening. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Click the bell icon so you're notified. We'll have a lot more storm chasers than we even had today. We've been mainly using 3, I think, different chasers. It's mainly been Storm Intermediate, Brandon, and Corey. But we'll have a bunch out there tomorrow. There will be a ton out there. And there's going to be a lot of stuff happening. And we're going to have a lot of hail, a lot of wind, probably a bunch of tornadoes too tomorrow. So... yeah, this is really... I can't compare this at all to what's going to happen tomorrow. I think tomorrow's going to be a heck of a lot worse than what we've been seeing so far tonight. Like, tonight, we've had a lot of hail. That's been the biggest thing. which was kind of what we were expecting anyways, but the tornado risk has not really materialized so far, and the tornado risk tomorrow is going to be a whole lot different than this. We'll probably at some point tomorrow have upwards of 15 tornado warnings, so maybe even more. Also at 10 p.m., so about 45 minutes ago in Amber, Oklahoma, there was also a report of tennis ball sized hail just north of Chickasha. Thank you, Katie, for becoming a member. Thank you, Kodos, also for the super chat. Tornado chance in Dallas, it's pretty much zero. Pretty much zero anywhere in North Texas. I don't really foresee there being a tornado with this activity. It's just too elevated. Too elevated. But hail and wind will continue to be a risk. I do think, though, we are starting to at least see a little bit more rotation in this line, and we just got a new warning for Shawnee, but I think we are starting to see a little bit more spin in this line of thunderstorms between Oklahoma City and Ardmore. So a QLCS tornado is very well in play over the next hour as this moves east. All right, we have 4 new hail reports. Let's go ahead and go over to John with those hail reports. Go ahead.
All right, we have all kinds of hail reports coming from this line of storms. So furthest north in Bethany, Oklahoma, County, Oklahoma, we have reports of quarter-sized hail associated with the single cell that we have north of Oklahoma City. Moving further south in Maysville, Oklahoma, we now have reports of ping-pong-sized hail from the line of storms that's passing through the area. And then a little bit longer ago, in Mustang, a National Weather Service employee reported ping-pong-sized hail around their office. And then further down in Texas, we have amateur radio reports of quarter-sized hail in Lake Brownwood.
Alrighty, thank you for the reports. Also, thank you, Nicholas, for the super chat. Have I seen the Netflix documentary about the Joplin tornado? I want to watch it. I've had literally no time to do anything other than weather recently, but I do want to watch it. I'm definitely going to watch it this summer for sure. But don't spoil me. I do want to watch that. I think that, from what I've heard, it sounds very interesting. I remember watching that tornado on the Weather Channel when it happened. That was crazy. Anything on track for Bartlesville tonight? Really, anywhere here in northeast Oklahoma, you're probably going to see storms. I mean, there's almost no way you don't, because we have a huge line here that's forming, and we also got a line here. So we got 2 different lines that are pushing east. You're pretty much almost guaranteed to see storms tonight in almost any place here in Oklahoma, but the main concern will be damaging winds by the time it gets to Tulsa, Bartlesville, or Miami. Granted, we could still see a QLCS tornado, which what I mean by that is that an embedded tornado in the line of thunderstorms is a possibility out of this line or this line. So stay weather aware and definitely have multiple ways to receive alerts. There is definitely a chance for a tornado in this line. Norman got skipped. I mean, if you're in Moore, you definitely got skipped. Nothing happened there. But there is still a line behind. This line has been upscaling a lot over the last 60 minutes. So pretty good chance that we're gonna get something there. Kansas City is pretty much clear. The worst of the storms have already passed you. We have already had the cold frontal boundary push through. The only severe weather in Missouri right now is the one near Henderson. And honestly, this one does look interesting. Go full screen to it. This is near Holden, just southeast of Overland Park and southeast of Kansas City. It's not very organized yet in terms of a tornado risk, but I wouldn't rule it out with this cell. This is tracking right along the cold frontal boundary. Velocity's not really much there. We have a little bit of convergence, though, near East Lynn. There's like a little bit of convergence here. It's actually anticyclonic if that was actual rotation. So there might be something here. Going towards Kingsville and Holden, but the risk even up here is pretty low of a tornado, but definitely not zero. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning in Kansas. This is an elevated storm near Cedar Vale for quarter-sized hail that is tracking to the northeast, south of Cambridge. Little update on Texas. The severe thunderstorm warning for Denton County has been canceled, so we no longer have any severe storms in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, but we still have plenty of strong storms out there that are producing a little bit of hail and also a little bit of wind, but nothing severe at this point in the Oklahoma City, or sorry, not Oklahoma City, the Dallas-Fort Worth metro. And then just south of Fort Worth, southwest of Cleburne, we still have a cluster of thunderstorms producing ping-pong ball-sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. This will be tracking towards I-35 over the next 60 minutes. What is happening to this camera? Holy cow, the wind picked up. I don't know if the camera's gonna come back. I don't know what button it is. This camera was just shaking crazy there for a second. I don't know if it was somebody controlling it or if it was the wind. This is in Oklahoma City. I think it might have been just being controlled. We do now have a tornado possible tag that has been put on a storm, which is, I'm pretty sure, one of the southern Oklahoma ones. Yeah, so they have put a tornado possible tag near Pauls Valley, Stratford, Byers, and Winnett near Asher. There is a little bit of rotation near Pauls Valley that is currently moving to the northeast. So again, a little bit of rotation moving towards Stratford. But there is now a tornado possible label back on some storms here. Again, no tornado warning so far. Oh, did not mean to click that. We do not have a tornado warning. Sorry, guys. We have not had any tornado warning so far this evening. And that could change at some point. Why is my red light? There we go. It's blue. Sorry, I might have given somebody a jump scare. I did not mean to click that. Thank you, Zach, for the super chat. I will be talking about the severe weather risk in areas like Pennsylvania and New Jersey in tomorrow morning's video. So I'll go more in detail then. Thank you, Michaela, for becoming a member. I'll also go more in detail on it in tomorrow's live stream. I want to focus on what's happening tonight and also what's happening tomorrow. We're kind of going day by day. But tomorrow morning's video will have all the details that you really need, I think. It'll be out at like 6 a.m. Central Time. So it'll be out bright and early. And then we'll be live a little after lunchtime probably tomorrow. Yeah, this Pauls Valley storm is definitely getting a little bit more concerning. We've seen a little uptick in rotation. Got a little hook there near Pauls Valley. Velocities have intensified just a little bit over the last few minutes. Not strong right now. There is at least some rotation. Here's the latest scan. It's not over. It's, again, not really strong right now. It's kind of broad, but this is the area where we could get a tornado as this tracks northeast towards Asher. Seminole, Wewoka, Holdenville, and Maud will be in the track of this over the next hour or so. As a reminder, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe down below. Click the bell icon so you're notified when we do go live tomorrow, and also so you get the latest video update. And don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Those are at MaxVelocityWX. There are links in the descriptions to all of those platforms. Definitely recommend you follow us on Facebook and Twitter. We post a lot of updates on there. We posted like 30 different things today about the weather. I mean, that's how many things are happening right now. 30 different posts, I think, on both Facebook and Twitter. So I definitely recommend that you check those platforms out. We're going to have a lot of updates being posted on those over the next several days as we have a bunch of outbreaks of severe weather coming. We have a severe weather outbreak that is likely tomorrow, which is Sunday. We have another one that is expected on Wednesday, potentially a tornado outbreak on Wednesday. And we'll have a lot of other severe weather in between. So there's a lot of stuff upcoming. It's going to be a very active stretch of weather. Links to all the socials are in the description. We also have a Discord server if you want to join our community on Discord. You can check that out. There's also a link down below. Tornado risk in Tuttle, Oklahoma. I would say it's very close to zero. The only thing that's left for you is this line of storms west of El Reno. And that's not going to be very tornadic, I think. Should be mostly wind. Very, very low to zero tornado risk there. But Oklahoma City Metro, somebody just asked about Oklahoma City. You will get hit by the second line. It will likely not be super significant, but some damaging winds and isolated hail will be possible as it moves to Oklahoma City and Edmond. And then this cluster between Oklahoma City and Ardmore is where we're still watching for an isolated tornado risk, but mainly wind and hail as that moves northeast. Who is at risk tomorrow? It is a lot of people. A ton of people are in the risk for severe weather tomorrow. We got a massive enhanced risk of severe weather. This is the second largest enhanced risk on a day 2 outlook that we've ever had, by the way, stretching from the Ohio Valley into the deep south. This covers a total of over 600, actually over 700,000 square miles are covered by some level of a risk of severe weather, which is quite literally insane. So we got this massive risk from Texas to the Great Lakes. We even have a marginal risk back over in Florida. And we got that back over there, which is not a risk. That's just a general thunderstorm risk on the West Coast. But again, tornadoes, significant damaging winds, significant hail are all in the forecast here across the Mississippi River Valley. But strong tornadoes are the main concern for tomorrow, in addition to wind and hail. But wind and hail really are the main concern. The tornado threat will be a big concern, I think, in this region right here, where I do think there is a chance that a moderate risk for tornadoes gets issued from eastern Missouri back into central Kentucky. Thank you, Carrie, for the super chat. Kingsville, Missouri. Let me see where that is. Kingsville, Missouri. I'm not really seeing a whole lot of rotation here. It's mostly just downburst winds. This isn't really rotation. That isn't either. But they have upgraded the warning in Oklahoma, which we're going to go to now. They have upgraded the warning for Kingfisher in Noble counties. This is all the way back up. I think this is the one. No, it's this one. South of Ponca City. This warning just got upgraded to golf ball sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. So that's between just east of Enid, near Garber, Covington, and Billings. Moving to the northeast. Hey, Steve, for the super chat. What do you mean by what weather map am I using? Hope Ohio doesn't get hit too hard tomorrow. I don't think it'll be too bad in Ohio. It'll be probably more geared towards wind in Ohio rather than tornadoes. There could be a couple of tornadoes embedded in the line. What weather app? I'm using Radar Omega right now. Thank you, Mike, for gifting a member. Appreciate that. Currently have 11 severe thunderstorm warnings. Again, line of thunderstorms just south and east of Oklahoma City, and we got one west of Oklahoma City, all producing wind and hail. There is a potential for a tornado out of this activity near Pauls Valley. Right now it's on the low side of things, but we're keeping an eye on it. We even have a little opening just south of Shawnee, maybe for a low-end tornado risk. It's going to be heading towards Earlsboro and eventually Interstate 40, kind of heading towards some of the more rural locations east of the Oklahoma City metro. Currently, no severe storms in Dallas-Fort Worth, just strong storms across the board approaching Frisco, Denton, and eventually McKinney. And then we got a strong area of thunderstorms from Hamilton back to Cleburne, with up to ping-pong ball-sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds moving to the east. They have just actually issued a new warning for a lot of different counties. Johnson, Hill, Summerwald, Mesquite, and Arath counties for golf ball-sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds here in North Texas. The warning has just popped up here. This is a sizable warning just to the south of Cleburne. So the warning is a little bit higher than the previous one. There is also a ton of lightning popping up here on the map. So we got a ton of cloud-to-ground lightning that is probably coming out of this. Moving towards Cleburne, Morgan, Meridian, and Blum in Texas. Shout out to Dave and as well as Mike with the 5 gifted memberships. I appreciate that. Also, thank you, Brittany, for the super chat. Also, shout out to Carla with the generous super chat, and Dustin for becoming a member. Thank you, Michelle, for the Venmo donation. I appreciate that. Watching from Central Ohio, I love this stuff. It reminds me of sitting on the porch, watching the storms roll in with my dad. Keep up the great work. I appreciate that. Yeah, storms can be memorable. They can also be memorable in the wrong way. You know, we've seen that already this year. Like, we've had some, I feel like, cool looking storms that, you know, didn't really cause a whole lot of damage to, you know, people or places, or if any. But there have also been very destructive storms, like the ones in southeast Missouri, the ones in Arkansas. We've had a ton of crazy tornadoes already. Most of them came from the March 14th and 15th tornado outbreak. We had over 100 confirmed tornadoes from that event, and I'm pretty sure we had over 40 strong tornadoes from March 14th and 15th. So, and we had to end up having several EF4 tornadoes as well. So it's, you know, the weather's already been pretty crazy this year, and it's about to get a whole lot crazier. About to get a whole lot crazier. What was your scariest storm? It depends on what you mean by scariest storm. Like, I don't know if you're talking about like what I've gone through or what I've seen on radar and what I've also seen, you know, on stream. But there's been a bunch of crazy tornadoes that we've covered. We were pretty much live for every single tornado that happened on May 14th and 15th. I think we were live for every one of them. There were a ton. Thank you, Barry, for the super chat. How will Tulsa be tonight? Mainly wind for Tulsa. Low tornado risk. As a reminder, our tornado risk for tonight is mainly Oklahoma. There is a 5% tornado risk in place. Again, nothing's really transpired out of this so far. We've had nothing confirmed in terms of tornadoes, but we've had wall clouds at times. At this point, this is the area to watch for a low tornado risk. But we still have a potential for an isolated tornado, even up to Tulsa, Fayetteville, Fort Smith in Arkansas, Springfield, Joplin, Missouri, and even up near Jefferson City. There is a low chance for an isolated tornado between now all the way through about 6 a.m. tomorrow. And we've been keeping a close eye on this one little discrete cell near the cold front near Warrensburg in Missouri that is currently producing up to $half sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. Not tornadic as of right now. Velocities are not really giving any sort of signature that would indicate a tornado potential here. Mainly wind heading in the direction of Warrensburg. This was the hailstorm that produced tennis ball-sized hail west of Oklahoma City. Actually, a pretty long hail track. The storm has now fully died out near Edmond, so that one's done. But we actually had hail all the way up towards just west there of the Will Rogers International Airport. In Mustang, Texas, there was a report of ping-pong ball-sized hail at 10:28, and then at 10:30, a National Weather Service employee confirmed that as well. And then also $half sized hail in Bethany, Oklahoma. So a bunch of homes in this area. Unfortunately, a lot of residential communities, and plenty of hail hit those areas here over the last hour or so. Let's back over to Oklahoma City, a little live shot in the virtual rail fan. Good amount of lightning out in the distance right now. This is looking north. Plenty of cloud to cloud lightning. Hey, Jamie, for the super chat. The risk in Indianapolis for hail is a little bit more elevated, so make sure you're protecting your vehicle if you can. That'll be during the mid to late afternoon tomorrow. Got to get home to Arizona from Northeast Arkansas tomorrow a.m. How early? How's our trip looking? I mean, I'm guessing you're flying out or something. If you're flying out tomorrow morning, then the severe weather risk will be mainly in the afternoon and evening, so it won't be too concerning. Mainly during the morning. If you're flying out in the morning, you're not really going to see much. If you're driving, I honestly don't think you'll see much either, other than maybe like a weak line of thunderstorms. Thank you, Interstate, for the super chat. Yes, how do you tell where tornadoes may form? Well, you have to look at the velocities. That's like one of the main things whenever you're looking at velocities. There aren't any good examples on radar that I can even show you that would really be tornadic right now. I mean, there's very broad circulation in a few areas. Like, I mean, if you want to consider this rotation, which there's a little bit here near Paul's Valley, this is one way to look. I mean, the reds are winds going away from the radar, the greens are winds going towards the radar, and so that little bit of spin there is an indicator that we at least have a little bit of low-level rotation that's moving towards Stratford. But there isn't a whole lot of convergence here. It's really not that tight of a couplet either. It's just broad rotation. But I can't really show you an example of anything that's really rotating. That's like the closest to it. Otherwise, there's literally nothing rotating. But the velocities radar is probably the easiest way to determine if there is rotation or a tornado incoming. And also verifying that with our correlation coefficient radar product, which is essentially a product that will determine stuff that's falling out of the sky or being lifted up into the sky that is not rain. So... Bottom left camera's frozen. Good to know. Thank you. That is definitely frozen. Let me... just do that. Any news on Michigan? Other than the power outages, there really isn't a whole lot of news up there. It's been one heck of a last 24 hours there in Michigan. Let me quickly go up to Michigan. Had a lot of freezing rain up here. I mean, it's actually crazy. That's what it looks like. It's literally all pink in northern Michigan right now. A full-blown ice storm is in effect right now. I mean, we're talking widespread power outages. Over 100,000 people without power right now in northern Michigan. And unfortunately, this freezing rain is only going to continue into tomorrow. So just continue. I mean, if you've not lost power already, be ready to lose power, because there's already a lot of places that have lost power up there. We're at over 100,000 without power, and that number is only going to increase tomorrow. North Texas just got hit hard. We've had some strong storms rolling through Dallas-Fort Worth. The only severe weather that we had was about 45 minutes ago to an hour ago. But as of now, there's no warnings here, not even a special weather statement. I'm really not seeing any hail with this either. There might be some small hail approaching Denton, maybe a little bit over Louisville. I just saw somebody say in the chat there was no hail in Louisville right now, so... But overall, if there's any hail right now around Dallas-Fort Worth, it's very small. The more significant hail risk is south of Fort Worth, between Cleburne and Hamilton. I live in Denton, it's going crazy. There is small hail in Denton. Alright, we got to report a small hail in Denton. Somebody else just said a lot of lightning in Louisville. There's also reports of hail in Shawnee. Is the tornado risk conditional? Yeah, it's pretty conditional. I mean, again, it may or may not happen, but we are still seeing an uptrend of rotation near Stratford, Oklahoma. There is a little uptick in rotation, which is going to be approaching Conowa, Bing, Ada, and eventually Holdenville and Wewoka will be in the track of this over the next 45 minutes to an hour. So this is the one area that we've been seeing at least a little bit of rotation in. But again, it's remained broad, but it has picked up a little bit here over the last 15 minutes or so. Wall cloud reported near Stratford. Yeah, yeah, there actually was one. Yeah, as of 10 minutes ago, a low rotating wall cloud near Stratford. So there has been a report near Stratford of a rotating wall cloud. Been a close eye on this storm. There is one chaser that is heading towards it, and if they have it, I will go to them. But for now, they're in the storm. Thank you, Deed, for becoming a member. Welcome to the Velocities. keep in mind that we've had a lot of low rotating wall clouds like over the last, at least last few hours even, but even the other day we had a bunch. But a lot of like the other, what was the last time we went live? I think it was last weekend. We went live on that Sunday for the severe weather in like the deep south and the Dixie Alley. There were a ton of wall clouds that day, but nothing ever materialized. Now those, again, today and that day were very different. A lot less wind shear a week ago. This event has a lot more wind shear, but these storms are way more elevated. So that's one of the problems right now with the setup. The tornadoes that are, if a tornado tries to develop, it's going to have to really reach down to the ground a lot harder. How's Northwest Arkansas looking tonight? The main risk is going to be after midnight, and it's going to be damaging winds and a little bit of hail and a low tornado risk. But the tornado risk, I think, will stay very low. Thank you, Breezy, for becoming a member. Yeah, latest scan still showing some broad circulation. And I wouldn't rule out a tornado with this, but moving towards Bing and Ada. We've seen a little bit of clearing up near Shawnee and the Texuma area, but this isn't really I mean, there's not really much of an inflow here. It's just kind of gusty winds. This is our wind threat that's moving right along I-40 right now. If we were to get a tornado, it would have to come out of this activity, I think. We also got some severe storms just west of Oklahoma City. As a reminder, if you are in Oklahoma City, you are not done with severe weather quite yet. We got another round of storms coming in over the next hour with damaging winds, some hail, lightning, perhaps even a brief tornado being possible with that activity as it moves east. Will I be on tomorrow evening? Yes. As a reminder, we'll be live tomorrow, most of the afternoon and evening. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. We'll be live from, I don't know when, but we'll probably start around lunchtime. Between lunchtime and 4 p.m. is our starting time, and we'll go probably until midnight or even later than that. But I think we'll have a moderate risk of severe weather issued in our next outlook from the Storm Prediction Center, which our next outlook is in about 2 hours. So, again, if we get a moderate risk, it'll be talked all about in tomorrow morning's video, so make sure you are subscribed and click the bell icon so you're notified with the latest update. We do have a new mesoscale discussion from the Storm Prediction Center, I believe. We got one recently, but I might have missed. Oh, wait, no, we did not. Never mind. We do not have one. Just kidding. I've got to say, though, like, I know we are talking a lot about today and tomorrow, but Wednesday really looks like a big day. Like, we're going to be focused all about tomorrow, but I'm just throwing this out there for those that have any plans on Wednesday. We could be talking about a tornado outbreak. I mean, it's very well in play. It's a huge area that we're looking at right now for Wednesday. Computer models are still uptrending on Wednesday, which is crazy. I mean, Wednesday already looks like it's going to be a full-blown outbreak. There could be a fail mode that comes into play, but right now it really looks concerning. And again, if we're able to, we'll have a video on Monday, but if not, we'll have a full detailed breakdown on Tuesday about this, because again, unfortunately, Monday does not look like a good day for severe weather. Or sorry, Wednesday does not look like a good day. This is Wednesday, not Monday. Wednesday does not look good. It's a large enhanced risk on the day 5 outlook, and we're probably at least going to get a moderate, if I had to guess, on that day for severe weather. So, but tomorrow, again, this is your risk for tomorrow. It's a large one. This one's obviously larger than the Wednesday outlook right now, but again, size does not really matter as much. You know, the intensity of what we're going to be seeing on Wednesday, I think, is going to be really significant. But even tomorrow is significant. We're talking about the potential for long-tracked and strong tornadoes, damaging winds that could be numerous to widespread, and large to very large hail are all possible. So, a lot of stuff is going to be happening tomorrow. We just got a new severe thunderstorm warning north of Ada, south of Seminole for ping pong ball sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour damaging winds tracking to the east. Thank you, Jessica, for the super chat. I'm in Central Arkansas. My daughter is supposed to have a track meet on Wednesday. Just be careful. I mean, there's no reason to like cancel it right now or anything like that. Like, we don't exactly know what's going to happen yet on Wednesday. Just the synoptic overview looks almost perfect for a tornado outbreak. Thank you, Tamara, for becoming a member. Thank you, Dylan, for the super chat. And thank you, Rich and Allie, for becoming members. Southern Indiana tomorrow night. I think it'll be more geared towards the mid to late afternoon and early evening, Should be mostly wind, but there is definitely a more elevated risk for a tornado, like near Evansville, for example, in and around that area. There will be a more elevated environment there for even a strong or a long track tornado. Thank you, Eric, for becoming a member. But again, if you guys are wondering about like questions and stuff like that about tomorrow, again, I recommend you either watching today's video or getting up early tomorrow morning. We're gonna have a video out at 6 a.m. covering what's gonna be happening on Sunday, Monday, and as well as Tuesday and Wednesday. We'll have a full, all right, I don't know if we're gonna cover much about Tuesday and Wednesday tomorrow, but we'll at least generally talk about it. But we are gonna talk all about what's happening Sunday and Monday in tomorrow morning's video, which will be out in about 7 hours from now. So definitely recommend you check that out. We are down to 4 severe thunderstorm warnings. I'm actually kind of surprised. We have 4 active severe thunderstorm warnings now. We got 2 in Texas, we got 1 in Oklahoma, and then we got 1 up in Missouri, and that's it. And the storm right now near Holden and Warrensburg is currently producing ping pong ball sized hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds. Knob, Nonster, and Lamonte will be in the track of this. We just got a report of a 60-mile-per-hour wind gust via amateur radio in Kingsville, Missouri, and also a slew of quarter-sized hail reports. And then in Oklahoma, this is the storm that has had some rotation, but they have removed the tornado possible label. So we are back down to a normal severe thunderstorm warning for Asher, Maud, and just south of Seminole. That is going to be for ping pong ball sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. And then Dallas-Fort Worth, nothing severe as of right now. And also near the Red River Valley, nothing severe. All these storms are tracking to the northeast with some gusty winds, small hail, and lightning. And then south of Dallas, we have a cluster of thunderstorms producing up to golf ball-sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds near Cleburne, going towards Waxahachie, and also near Hamilton. And we just got a new one. All right, well, we actually have a severe thunderstorm warning for the Dallas-Fort Worth area. This is an observed threat of half-dollar-sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds in Collin and Denton counties. So we've actually had a observed threat here. This is going to be for Frisco, McKinney, Allen, and Plano, and Princeton. So we've now had an observed threat of half-dollar-sized hail in and around Louisville, going towards Frisco, McKinney, and Princeton. This is a pretty populated area, by the way. This is, I don't know the exact number, but this is, again, a very populated area. If there's any other reports here. Got some small hail reports in Hamilton, Texas. Just came out. Also, we just got another warning in northern Oklahoma. That is near Perry and Ponca City. That'll be for quarter-sized hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds. Here's the latest radar scan in Oklahoma, again, just southeast of Norman, Oklahoma City. See if there's any rotation, really. It looks like it's been broadening out, though. The main area of circulation that we had near Stratford that looked a bit more concerning, that is completely occluded. And at this point, the only area of rotation I'm seeing is near Asher, and that is not even really rotating. It's very weak little winds here near Asher. It's mainly going to be damaging winds. So, honestly, it looks like the tornado risk, I mean, it's not over, but the tornado risk is definitely very close to zero right now. Not really much here in Texas or Oklahoma that really is concerning when it comes to tornadoes. We've had a couple of opportunities for it, but everything's just stayed disorganized and elevated, which has left everything to kind of just be hail and wind at this point, which is good news. But keep in mind, like, if these storms were not elevated today, I honestly think we would have had a tornado outbreak. Like, the environment, it was very favorable. We had very strong wind shear, and we still do across the board. But the you know, the storms stayed, all of them stayed elevated. And we also had a lot of left splitting storms, which also kind of limited the threat as well. So there's actually a lot of reasons why we did not really see any tornadoes tonight, but there's been a lot of hail and wind, which again, hail's been damaging. We've definitely seen some damage. A lot of hail near Oklahoma City, upwards of tennis ball sized hail. All the little, diamonds that you're seeing here, those are all hail reports between Oklahoma City and Wichita Falls, and then even in around Dallas, Fort Worth, and southwest North Texas. We had a bunch of hail reports there as well. So crazy stuff. How does this weather only get a slight risk? I think this is worthy of a slight risk. I don't think an enhanced risk would have been needed for today. This is the risk that we had outlined for today. Just a big slight risk from Missouri into North Texas. I agree with the risk, honestly. And I mean, again, severe weather is still far from over. This is going to continue overnight tonight. But I agree with the risk. I don't think this needed an enhanced risk for anything. No tornadoes for Frisco? No tornadoes for Frisco. It's all wind and hail currently in the Frisco area. Going back to Dallas, Fort Worth here. This is the storm right now in Frisco. We actually got a big hail core right over Frisco. Little hail core on the south side of Frisco. It's approaching McKinney over the next 10 to 15 minutes. Allen and Fairview. Again, pretty populated area here. Also, we got a new severe thunderstorm warning for Johnson, Ellis, Hill, and Mesquite counties in Texas. This is just south of DFW. That's for ping pong ball sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour damaging winds. It's a pretty sizable warning for Burleson, Cleburne, and just west of Waxahachie. Lots of lightning with this storm as well. If you're trying to sleep, you might not be able to with how much lightning there is. I'd say really the most significant storm right now that we have is the one near Frisco and McKinney. There's a lot of people that live here, so fortunately we got a big hail core coming right through Frisco, and it's going to be approaching McKinney. $half sized hail is currently the main concern. Apparently there was a little bit of rotation just a moment ago near Walnut Springs, but I guess that has died out. As a reminder, today's stream is brought to you by ShopMaxVelocity.net. The reason why is because our 1 million subscriber merch is only available for another 2 days. Less than 2 days remain, and then we'll have a new collection coming out. We have our signed hats, t-shirts, mugs, stickers, even personalized handwritten cards. You can get a personalized handwritten card from me. How cool. You can check this out at ShopMaxVelocity.net. It is the top link in the description below. This is, again, one of the best ways to support what we do here on this channel. It helps us be able to, basically expand our team. We're doing a lot of different stuff here over the next few months, improving our stream quality, videos, all that sort of stuff. So if you want to check that out, again, top link in the description below. We're at shopmaxvelocity.net. For those that are wondering, our next collection, which will be coming out on April 1st, I think, is our Supercell collection, which is going to look like this. It is going to be a really cool looking design, and so I'm really excited about that. That'll be coming out again in a few days after our 1 million subscriber merch is gone. So if you want to get any 1 million subscriber merch, again, this is the last chance. It goes away in less than 48 hours, and then Supercell collection will take over. All right, back to chat. Thank you also to Death for becoming a member. By the way, we have now only 80 hats left, so if you want to get a signed hat, there are 80 left. There is a chance that we actually sell out of our hats tomorrow. We're selling them again really quickly. The live streams really, they go quick for some reason. So there's a chance that we sell out sometime tomorrow. Signed hats are limited to 500. Hey, Sandra, appreciate the generosity. I'm so excited about the Supercell collection. I'm so excited about it. Let's go through the timing for the rest of tonight. I have some people asking about what we're expecting tonight, so let's go through the timing of severe weather, beginning with what's happening just over the next couple of hours. So again, a line of thunderstorms, bunch of storms really, are going to continue in North Texas, Oklahoma, and Kansas. with damaging winds, large hail, and again, an isolated tornado being possible. By around 3 to 4 in the morning, these storms are moving into western Missouri. Relatively disorganized activity by this point, but damaging winds are still possible just south and east of Kansas City, back over near Jefferson City and Springfield. By 5 to 6 in the morning, that line will be pushing towards St. Louis. We will still have a few strong to severe storms ongoing in North Texas by daybreak tomorrow. So hail, wind, really the main concerns there. By the late morning hours, all the storms will be weakening in the Midwest, and then eventually that opens the door for a bunch of severe storms during the early to mid-afternoon hours tomorrow. And I honestly think tomorrow we start with a bunch of hail and wind storms during the early to mid-afternoon hours, and then the tornado risk really gets going during the mid to late afternoon and as well as into the evening hours tomorrow. And I think we're going to be talking about strong and long track tornadoes, especially in the lower Midwest and also into the mid-Mississippi River Valley. If I had to pinpoint an area where I think the greatest tornado threat will be, I still think it's this area here. And we could even shift it a little bit further down to the south. I mean, this could kind of be the area, but that's where I think the greatest tornado risk will be for tomorrow. So, yeah. It'll be a busy day for sure, though. It'll be a busy day. We'll be live probably for at least 12 hours. And then the threat continues into Monday along the East Coast, where a few tornadoes will also be possible, but mainly a wind risk on Monday. Currently, the chances of being live on Monday are around 40%. So it's a low to medium chance of being live on Monday. I would be live almost undoubtedly, but I have classes. So I gotta get probably at least a few classes in, because Wednesday could be a major tornado outbreak, and the odds of me skipping all my classes are very high. So we'll see about the timing of that. But I want to try to get some classes in. But Tuesday also, just for reference, as we go later into the week. So again, Monday, the risk of severe weather shifts to the East Coast. Again, 90+ million people are in the risk of severe weather on Monday, stretching from New York back to the Gulf Coast. Tuesday's risk is currently centered in the Central Plains, but this could be larger. It's conditional further south, but currently expecting the main concern in the Central Plains. And then on Wednesday, we are expecting a severe weather outbreak. Potentially, I honestly, at this point, I'm just going to say it. I think we're going to have a tornado outbreak. Tornado outbreak very likely right now on Wednesday from the Ohio Valley and Great Lakes all the way to the Deep South. So, yeah. We are now up to ping pong ball sized hail on the Hamilton, Texas severe thunderstorm warning. And also for Mesquite. How's it going, Hoops? Welcome back. Would your professor be okay skipping class for this? I mean, I'm pretty much, I'm not like behind on anything, so I don't think it'll matter that much. It's not a big deal. There's a reason why I try to stay ahead, because I know that this type of stuff is going to happen. And once this stuff happens, then, you know, it's kind of dicey. All right, we got 4 new hail reports. Let's go to John with the latest on the hail reports. Go ahead, John.
Alrighty, so this is looking at our storm north of Dallas. So starting in the Colony area, looks like we have a report of 1-inch size hail, so that'll be quarter size from local law enforcement. Then it looks like we have another one in Hackberry, around the same area. Yet again, another quarter size hail reported there. Then it looks like over in Harrisonville in Missouri, looks like we have law enforcement reporting 1-inch size hail. Looks like that was a delayed report, so another report for some hail in that area.
Alrighty, thank you for the reports. Yeah, this Frisco storm, we actually have 2 different reports near Little Elm in Frisco for quarter-sized hail. Lots of lightning. The hail core, again, is over the south and east side of Frisco. It's approaching Allen, Fairview, and McKinney over the next 15 to 20 minutes. Hey, Jackets for the super chat. Rockwall, Texas. We'll see. Again, this storm could intensify. It's still probably about 30 minutes from you anyway. So, I mean, we could see this intensify and produce some $1/4 to $1/2 sized hail. So, we'll see. Hey, Mike, for the super chat, you got hat 191 or 121. Nice. Yeah, we're if anybody's wondering, by the way, we are currently on hat 420. So there's 80 hats left if you want to get a signed hat. All of the hats, by the way, are numbered on the inside, for those that are wondering. So signed hats available again at shopmaxvelocity.net. They are gone forever on March 31st at like 9 o'clock. Hey, Titan, for the super chat. If your throat is sore, try drinking hot tea. I don't even know what that is, but I appreciate the super chat. I mean, I'll be honest with you guys, like, I've really, even though we are live a ton, like, especially this time of the year, I've hardly ever had an issue with my throat. It's very minimal usually, so. Thank you, Matt, for the super chat. El Reno, Oklahoma winds are really gusting. We actually have an outflow boundary currently approaching Oklahoma City Metro. This little green thing that's popping up on radar, that is a gust front, or you could call it an outflow boundary, which that's the technical name for it. It's actually just pushed through El Reno. It's going to have some gusty winds around 40, 45 miles per hour, and that'll move into Edmond and Oklahoma City over the next 15 to 20 minutes. But again, this is a non-severe line of storms or cluster of storms that's currently moving through central Oklahoma. What's the outlook for St. Louis tonight and tomorrow with hail and the tornado risk? I think St. Louis will be mostly wind. I would say the main risk for hail and tornadoes and wind will really be mainly down to the south. I'm in Grove, Oklahoma, just far northeast in the tornado watch. What can I expect and when? So again, the general timing is really over the next 3 hours. The line of storms will continue to push northeast. I think most of this at this point is going to just stay strong. There will be some isolated severe weather that pushes towards Tulsa, Claremore, Miami, Bartlesville, and Muskogee. Honestly, I don't expect much of a tornado risk, though. I think it'll be mostly wind as this continues to track to the northeast. Isolated damaging winds being a possibility. Burleson, Texas sirens are going off. Keep in mind, if you're in North Texas, for those that are new to North Texas, a lot of the tornado sirens go off for normal severe thunderstorm warnings. There are no tornado warnings right now. They do that in a lot of these places. I really don't know why, but they just do it. So, I mean, Denton is a place that I had somebody saying that earlier, which I used to live in Denton County, so I know that. But the tornado sirens do not mean that there is a tornado, at least in North Texas. In most areas. But they do have them go off for severe thunderstorm warnings. It's very confusing, I know. I am in Frisco, and I can confirm I just got hit hard by hail. Yeah, we got a big hail core that just moved through Frisco. I'm not seeing it really as much on the correlation coefficient anymore, but that hail, if it's still going, is going to be right over Highway 121. It's going to be approaching McKinney, Texas. So if you're McKinney, brace yourself for some $quarter to $half sized hail as this continues to move to the east-northeast. Hey, Smart for the super chat. What Warrenburg are we talking about? Is that the... I don't know what... Oh, this one? Yeah, Warrenburg in Missouri is mainly a wind and hail risk. Again, not really any rotation with this. It's a very small little cluster of storms that's developed near the cold frontal boundary. It's tracking right along Route 50. It's going to be going towards Lamonte, Sedalia, and Smithton. But a little bit of lightning, ping pong ball sized hail, 60 mile per hour winds, the main concern right now for Smithville. And we definitely have a hail core, so you're probably going to at least get some hail. It might not be as large as ping pong balls, but it'll at least be large hail. Moving into Warrensburg over the next few minutes. Also getting a report of a lot of lightning in Grapevine, Texas. Could even see some power outages from lightning if it strikes a transformer or something like that. Been watching you for a year now as a fourth year, last semester to another. Congrats on graduating and appreciate what you do. I appreciate that. Thank you. Order my hat as soon as it hit 1 million. How do I know when it'll arrive in the ETA? D, check your email that you ordered on. There are tracking numbers. If you are one of the first 330 people to order a signed hat, the tracking numbers are out there. So, you should have it in your email. If for some reason you don't, you can email me, and I'll give it to you with your order number if you have that, or your name. New mesoscale discussion from the Storm Prediction Center. The severe threat is expected to continue over the next couple of hours. A new severe thunderstorm watch, maybe even a tornado watch, but I would say it's probably going to be a severe thunderstorm watch, maybe issued downstream. So that'll be for southwest Missouri, southeast Kansas, and northwest Arkansas. So if you're in Joplin or Springfield, keep in mind that your risk of severe weather is mainly going to be overnight tonight. But the tornado risk is still in play. Damaging winds, large hail, the main concerns, though. How's Dallas look? Dallas is just strong storms right now, and they're mostly off to your north. So, nothing right now in Dallas, Fort Worth. Just some gusty winds and maybe some small hail. Tornadoes are not expected in North Texas tonight. Not expected. Can't rule it out, but it's not in the forecast. All the storms are, again, elevated, which means that it's going to be hard for a tornado to even get to the ground, even if we had a favorable environment for it. So, which we do have a favorable environment. Just going to be take a lot for there to be a tornado here. Well, I live stream my graduation. I have no clue. I probably won't, because I don't even know how I would do that, but I probably won't. Thank you, Tim, for becoming a member. How bad do you think tomorrow's going to be? I don't think it's going to be as bad as... it's hard to compare. I mean, if I was to compare this to what we saw March 14th and 15th, I don't think it's going to be as bad as that, but it has the potential to be pretty bad. We could definitely see several tornadoes in the lower Midwest and the mid-Mississippi River Valley, where the point where we could have as many as like 10 or 15 tornado warnings at a given time. So, but it's hard to compare this. I mean, again, the only day I can really compare tomorrow to would be May 26th of 2024. That's the only day that comes to mind that's similar. They're not the same, but they are somewhat similar in regards to the setup of severe weather. So, there's that. But again, it's not the same. Honestly, May 26th, I think, was worse than what we'll probably see tomorrow. But nonetheless, it's a day that you want to be weather aware for. I think it's going to be significant. It's definitely a day you're going to want to make sure that you're staying weather aware for. If you're in the Ohio Valley, the Tennessee Valley, Deep South, I mean, again, this is a huge area. I mean, we're talking, I think we're at least at around 100 million people in the risk of severe weather tomorrow. Let me double check the number. There are currently... There's 103 million people, 104 million people in the risk of severe weather tomorrow. That is how significant the risk is for tomorrow. Just crazy. 104 million people. Tomorrow's going to be a busy day, though. And I do think we're going to get a moderate risk of severe weather somewhere, but we'll see. Even if we don't, definitely want to make sure you're taking it serious. No matter where you are. Hey, Tori for the super chat. Wichita, Kansas. It's mostly elevated hailstorms up there. But Wichita, Kansas, I don't really think we're going to see much there. Again, if you get anything, it would just be some quarter-sized hail at tops. Otherwise, a little bit of lightning in the area, a little bit of rain. That's about it. Thank you, Tim, for becoming a member. We're going to have a long day tomorrow. We will. We will have a long day. Before that long day begins, we will have a video again tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. or so Central Time with the latest updates on what you need to know about this upcoming severe weather outbreak tomorrow. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Click the bell icon so you're notified as well with that video. And we'll, again, have that out bright and early for you tomorrow morning. Joplin, Missouri will be mainly wind after midnight. Mainly wind. Thank you, Kent, for the super chat. Any worries about a moderate risk? I think we're gonna get one. Like, personally, I think there's enough confidence for a moderate risk. But yeah, I mean, again, it's I don't make the decision on that. That's up to the Storm Prediction Center. So we'll see. But they have hinted at it a couple times. We did get a new severe thunderstorm warning for those in Dallas, Irving, and Arlington. Quarter-sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour damaging winds are possible. This is another left-moving splitting storm that's moving northeast, so it's mostly, again, wind and a little bit of hail. There's also a new severe thunderstorm warning in Missouri for Johnson and Pettis counties. Johnson and Pettis counties. So that's Warrensburg, Lamonte, and Houstonia. Houstonia, I can't even say that. Houstonia. That's gonna be for 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-sized hail. You know when I'm going live tomorrow? Sometime between 12 and 4 will be the starting time. That's a guess. It could be earlier or later than that. I have no clue, but it'll probably be between 12 and 4. I'm not going to schedule a live stream, I don't think. I'll probably just go live when I think I need to go live. I'm not going to, like, do it like today. Today we scheduled a live stream. I don't really schedule live streams anymore, because I feel like if I schedule a live stream, everybody's going to expect me going live at a certain time. And I almost all the time push it back or move it forward, so it's kind of pointless to schedule a stream. Just go live when I need to go live. We just got a new warning just west of Waco. That is going to be for quarter-sized hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds in North Texas. It's my GPA. I think it's like a 3.6. Thank you, Fudge, for the super chat. Thank you for your continuous coverage of storms and the accuracy you provide. You're the only streamer I trust. I appreciate that. Thank you for the generosity. Appreciate all the support today. By the way, guys, we now have less than 70 hats left. If you want to get one that is signed, you can pick it up at shopmaxvelocity.net. I think we are going to sell out of our signed hats tomorrow. So if you want to get one, you probably want to get it tonight. Again, it's for 1 million subscribers. It's the only 500 hats I'll be signing, I think, from here on out. I'm probably not signing more because it's a painful process to sign a bunch of hats and ship them. But if you want to get one, again, shopmaxvelocity.net, top link in the description below. We're at 430 out of the 500 sold. Any severe weather from Melissa, Texas? Melissa, Texas. Just north of McKinney. Currently, the hail core is to your south. I wouldn't rule out some isolated quarter-sized hail on the south side of town, but if you're on the north side of town, probably not going to see much. Princeton, Farmersville, Blue Ridge in the track right now with this hail core. The hail risk is down to quarters, though, now. It was at $half initially. Do you think Louisville could be in the path of hail again tonight? I don't think so. There are a couple little showers that are developing west of, like, Fort Worth, but these are not anything concerning. Good thing we put our cars in the garage. I'm glad you did. Unfortunately, there are a lot of people, like, that have garages and for some reason just don't put their car in the garage. Like, they just leave it out in the driveway, like, overnight, not expecting severe weather. It happens a lot, believe it or not. And, you know, tonight is definitely not a night that you would have wanted to do that. The hail in North Texas, it's been pretty isolated to widely scattered. It's been a lot more widespread in Oklahoma. Or not widespread, but it's at least been more numerous in a lot of areas just south in Oklahoma City and even around Oklahoma City. And we've had a pretty good hail track here in McKinney and Frisco. We've had quarter-sized hail for a good stretch near McKinney and Allen. So, it's been pretty active. This is from Michelle and Shawnee. Michelle and Shawnee is reporting to us some Skittle-sized hail. Skittle-sized hail over in Shawnee, Oklahoma. I'm not sure if I've ever seen somebody measure hail in the size of Skittles, by the way. That might be the first. I don't know if I've ever seen that before. When you get, somebody needs to get like cheese curds, like literally. Somebody has to get a cheese curd and get some cheese curd sized hail. It has to happen at some point. By the way, tomorrow in our live stream, we will have analysis or another weather analysis. Now I can't speak. Another weather person on our stream. I'm just gonna say that. Another weather person on our stream tomorrow afternoon. Hunter Hurley, for those that know, he's a storm chaser. He'll be doing so. He'll be helping us out a little bit during the afternoon hours until John is around. So we'll have him filling us in on any storms that might be concerning and that sort of stuff. Reports, all that good stuff. We'll have Hunter coming in as well. Thank you, Coach, for the super chat. Put this towards your next chiropractor visit. Sitting in that chair and keeping us weather aware is tough on the body. I appreciate that. Thank you for the super chat. It's bound to happen. Thank you, Diane, for the super chat. I'd say the tornado risk in like St. Charles, Missouri and Van Buren, Arkansas again is very low tonight. Not zero, though. You're in Northern California. You've been getting hammered by rain this winter. What's the timing for Chattanooga, Tennessee? That is going to be late tomorrow night. We're talking probably around midnight, maybe even later than that. It's going to be mainly a wind risk. Very late, though, tomorrow night. Prediction for Tyler, Texas. It'll be mostly wind, or not even really much wind left. It'll probably just be isolated wind and hail by around like 4 or 5 in the morning. It's gonna be late tonight, though, for Tyler. Still several hours away from seeing anything there. We do have some storms that are now coming into range of Tulsa, Oklahoma. Some gusty winds, some lightning, a little bit of small hail will be approaching the Tulsa area over the next 30 to 45 minutes. Again, severe weather at this point. Pretty unlikely. We don't really have much here in terms of severe weather. But gusty wind, small hail possible if you're in Tulsa. And these storms could intensify again, but nothing severe for the time being. No severe warnings at all in Oklahoma. The only warnings we have left are in Missouri, which we have one near Sedalia for quarter-sized hail. And we actually have a damage report that just came out west of Warrensburg. There are reports of trees and power lines down in Holden, Missouri. And then Dallas-Fort Worth, a cluster of storms currently producing some hail and wind on the east side of the Metroplex. There's actually a little bit of rotation right now near McKinney. And the rotation today has really not transpired into much. We actually did it over the last few minutes. It's broadening out a little bit now, but we've had a little area of rotation near Fairview, Texas, approaching Princeton and Farmersville. A little bit of rotation. Again, I'm not really concerned about this. It's probably just a little spin up, but there is actually a little bit of broad rotation there. Moving to the east. Thank you, Anthony, for the super chat. It's a very low risk in Springfield tonight for a tornado. Very low. Huge shout out to Paula with the $50 PayPal donation. Put some W's in the chat for Paula. Really appreciate the generosity. Thanks, man. Appreciate all you do. I appreciate the generosity, and thank you so much for that. Also, shout out to Justin with the donation. I missed this earlier. From Ty over in Poolville. Hopefully, if you're still watching, I appreciate you watching. Thank you, Jerry, also for the donation as well. He's saying that we have major ice ongoing in northern Michigan. Yeah, it's been crazy. Over 100,000 without power, and Wisconsin is going to ramp up tomorrow, too. A lot of power outages are likely in Wisconsin tomorrow. Unfortunately. I've lived in DFW for 27 years, and I don't think I've ever experienced a close NATO, but the 2 years I went to Florida, I experienced what? Francis? You know, it's kind of crazy. Like, Dallas-Fort Worth is weird. I feel like there's like, it just feels like there are tornadoes here, but there just aren't as many as like Oklahoma, for example. It just feels like there's like a huge drop-off. I feel like, though, a lot of the tornadoes that we do see in Texas are usually rural areas, so they're not really talked about as much. Oklahoma, there's a lot of tornadoes, and they definitely damage a lot more. Like, if we get a tornado in Texas, for example, out here, let's say, it's more than likely going into a field, and we might not even be able to observe, like, the damage or, like, survey the damage, so it's kind of just forgotten about. If we get a tornado anywhere in Oklahoma, there's trees pretty much, I wouldn't say everywhere in Oklahoma, but there's a good amount of trees. So you can at least pick up on some sort of debris that, you know, gets lofted up by a tornado. Hey, Bird, for the super chat, Ponca City, just mainly gusty winds and some small hail. All elevated storms up here near Ponca City. Don't be too worried about the storm look here. It really is not really rotating much. It's just an elevated storm that's moving into Maryland and Ponca City. And very low risk for a tornado does exist for the next few hours. The tornado watch does go until 1 a.m. Central Time across central and eastern Oklahoma. You can sleep in Illinois tonight, yes. As a reminder, make sure to subscribe to the channel, click the bell icon so you're notified when we do go live tomorrow. Tomorrow will be a long day. Also, don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Facebook at MaxVelocityWX. Those links are in the description below as well. We post a lot of weather updates on Facebook and Twitter. Definitely recommend you check those out. A lot of stuff gets posted on there that we sometimes don't even talk about in detail in videos because there's just so many things happening, like the last few days. Also, if you want to, you can join our community on Discord. We have a Discord server linked in the description. You can check that out as well. And a lot of other fun links as well down there. We have Instagram, TikTok, all that sort of stuff. You can follow us on all those platforms at MaxVelocityWX. We do have a new severe thunderstorm warning for McClellan, Ellis, Navarro, and Hill counties in Texas. It's going to be for Waxahachie, Ennis, and Corsicana for 60-mile-per-hour damaging winds and quarter-sized hail. And we actually got a warning in Iowa. All the way up in Iowa, we got a severe thunderstorm warning near Des Moines. So if you're tuning in right now from Des Moines, some quarter-sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds will be possible in Warren, Polk, and Jasper counties. Thank you, Huskers, for becoming a... I can't see the membership number. It just disappeared. Give me 1 second. Thank you, Huskers, for the 1 month. Got my 1 million... subscriber mug. That's awesome. Appreciate that. Appreciate you supporting our store. Thank you, Knight, for the super chat. Also, Nathaniel. Do have some storms approaching Oklahoma City right now. Outflow boundary is going to push in some strong storms over the next several minutes. You can actually see if we go to the full shot here. This is what it looks like. I think it's slot 1. Yeah, that's Oklahoma City right now. So, got some strong storms rolling in. Good amount of lightning. Some heavy rain. Some small hail and gusty winds will be possible. But again, severe weather really not in the forecast here. Or Oklahoma City. Am I going to live stream tomorrow? I've been asked this question like 30 times. Yes, I will be live tomorrow. I've been mentioning it like in every video too. We'll be live tomorrow. It's been in the plans for like a week now. Yeah, no severe thunderstorm warnings again in Oklahoma. The only warnings left are in Texas, and we got 1 in Missouri, 1 in Iowa. So, continue to stay weather aware. Again, Des Moines, quarter-sized hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds, and then we got some large hail and damaging winds moving through the east side and south side of the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. This will be all moving out here over the next couple of hours into eastern North Texas, where the hail and wind risk will continue. But generally speaking, the severe weather risk is going to be more marginal, and the tornado risk is very low to 0 in Texas. Still got a low tornado risk in Oklahoma for the next couple hours. Again, nothing rotating right now, but you're back on near Tulsa, Bartlesville, Miami, Joplin, or Springfield. Definitely make sure that you're staying weather aware as the storm activity continues to push northeast. All right, well, I think that's going to really do it for today's stream. Again, we got a big day ahead tomorrow, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We could be live every day for the next like 5 or 6 days. So I want to save some energy for tomorrow's long stream. We'll have a video again at 6 a.m. tomorrow Central Time or so. So make sure you have your notifications turned on. Click the bell icon down below so you're notified. Subscribe to the channel as well. And we'll keep you posted with the latest. We'll be live pretty much all day tomorrow. A bunch of storm chasers, live cameras, you name it, we'll have it. As a reminder, before we end today's stream, there is only 48 hours left, less than 48 hours left, until the 1 million subscriber merch is gone forever. If you want to get any sort of keepsake like our 1 million subscriber signed hats, which by the way, there's only 68 of these left. So if you want to get one, then now is the time to do so. We have t-shirts, mugs, stickers, hats, and a lot more available at shopmaxvelocity.net. It is the top link in the description below. This is one of the best ways to support what we do here on this channel. If you want to continue to help us out, this is one of the best ways. Again, the signed hats are really one of the best ways to support us as well. It takes a lot of time for us to do. We have a lot of manual labor involved in these, but definitely helps out the channel a ton. Helps us be able to have all the storm chasers we have, all the we're basically hiring people now, so it's also able to help that as well. So if you want to check that out, again, shopmaxvelocity.net, top link in the description below. 68 signed hats are left. They'll probably sell out sometime tomorrow if I had to guess at the rate we're going, so definitely recommend you check that out and get one if you want one. But other than that, I'll be live again tomorrow. Start time sometime between 12 and 4 p.m. Central Time. We'll have a video before that. So again, video is expected around 6 a.m. Central Time, so about 6 hours from now, maybe 7 hours from now, sometime between that time frame. We'll have a video out for you guys, and we'll have a full breakdown on everything that you guys need to know about Sunday and Monday severe weather threat. And then on Monday, I'm not sure about the live stream potential right now. I'm not sure what we're doing on Monday. If we're not live on Monday, we will have a video. So we'll have a video on Monday if we don't have a live stream. And then Tuesday, we'll have a video. We'll probably go live Tuesday, and we'll be live Wednesday, and then Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Live streams are definitely possible. So it's going to be a busy stretch of weather. Subscribe, click the bell icon so you're notified with the latest updates and live streams. All right. Once again, if you want to get any 1 million subscriber merch, you can check it out at shopmaxvelocity.net. 45 hours remain until it's gone forever. Top link in the description below. We'll be back tomorrow. If you have any questions about tomorrow's risk of severe weather, you can go ahead and watch my video that was posted this morning. It's still pretty relevant to what's going to be happening, so definitely check that out. And we'll see you guys all again in the next one, which again will be tomorrow. All right. Have a great night. Stay safe. Have multiple ways to receive warnings.